Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto X High School of the Dead Harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Jack Gray Logan and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. The Last Day of Civilization. Breaking his fingers through his shaggy blonde locks, Naruto Uzumaki, the guidance counselor of Fujimi Academy, glanced over at the brown-haired teen, Takashi Kamuro, that was occupying his dark orange divan. Leaning back into his chair, his blue eyes slid over to look at the clock that was hanging above his door before sighing. "Come on now Kamuro," Naruto addressed his student, "this has been the 5th time you've snuck off in here to skip class this week. I don't need Kyoko getting on my case about helping students be delinquents." Turning his head, Takashi Kamuro stared at the 27-year-old man. Bringing a hand up to adjust the collar of his black school uniform, he folded his arms behind his head with a sigh. "Sorry Naruto, it's just that this is the only place I can go without being bothered," Takashi told him. "Saya knows where I usually go and would only nag at me and make things worse." Naruto Uzumaki was the most popular member of the school staff, and his office was where some students frequently found themselves at without a thought when they had a problem. Takashi Kamuro was one of them. It was the second week into the semester, and everything seemed to be going downhill for the brown-haired teen. Not only was the ever-daunting fact that he had no plans for his future messing with him due to his mother's lectures over the break, but also the girl he loved had suddenly decided to date his best friend. Rubbing his face in frustration, he furrowed his eyes as he looked over at the blonde who was loosening the powder blue tie around his neck with a groan. Ever since that day, Takashi had found himself skipping classes and just hung around in the more abandoned halls near the front of the school. It was a way for him to avoid having to interact with the love of his life and his best friend who had in a sense stolen her from him. But he soon moved from those once his childhood friend, Saya Takagi, would find him and begin to nag. If he didn't know any better, Takashi would have wondered if his life was some kind of soap opera. "I take it this is about Rei?" Naruto questioned him on the subject. "You're still sore over the fact that she picks Hisashi. Well Takashi, you're just going to had to accept it." "I guess I just don't want to accept the way things are," Takashi admitted. "And yet I don't have the courage to try and do something about it." Blue eyes locked onto the teen, and seeing that he had the man's full attention, Takashi continued, "None of it seems to make sense to me. One moment, I think Rei and I was going to eventually get together, and all of a sudden she is dating Hisashi. Well, you can't use Rei and Hisashi as an excuse for your recent bout of skipping classes," Naruto told him. "You want my advice, just date Saya and you'll get over it." Takashi seemed to have been caught off guard as he asked, "What do you mean by that?" Just as Naruto was about to answer Takashi about it, a familiar voice came over the intercom. "Naruto Uzumaki. Get here this instant." Cringing at the volume, the brown-haired teen watched as the usually cheerful man slumped down in his seat with a groan. Pushing himself out of his chair, Naruto made his way around his desk while grabbing the coat of his slate suit from around the back of his chair. Tugging it on one arm at a time, he grinned sheepishly at the boy lounging on the couch. "I better get going," Naruto told Takashi as he got up from his seat. "As much as I shouldn't allow it, you can stay here as long as you want." Straightening out the suit top, he made his way to the door and stopped. Glancing over his shoulder, he allowed a small smile to form on his handsome face. "Well, it may seem like it's the end of the world now, things will get better," Naruto calls out to Takashi as he leaves his office. "Besides, there is an old saying that if you love something, then you should let it go, and if it comes back then it's truly worth something." As Naruto closed the door behind him, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a bottle of pills. Once he opens it, he became a little upset when he found them empty. "That's just great," Naruto thought bitterly. They're all gone. They were his selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Treatment pills for post-traumatic stress disorder. Whenever Naruto gets edgy and anxious, he would take one pill every 9 hours a day to keep himself calm. This was common for combat veterans who suffer post-traumatic stress disorder. However, he has habit of taking 2 or 3 at the same time. Nobody in school knows it, but Naruto was a former lieutenant of the Special Forces group in the Japan Ground Self-Defense. Considered relatively young, he is already a decorated veteran of a dozen special operation missions and dozen more Black Ops missions throughout his military career. His exploits have earned him a reputation as a war hero within the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. When he runs out of pills, the mental pains come back. The pills were the only thing that keep the scars reopening. To keep the nightmare back, it goes to be a while for him to make a phone call to request new pills. And it will take about a week, which was something he could not handle. Absorbing the advice of his former teacher and commanding officer, Major General Jiraiya, Naruto quotes, "There are 3 things to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder: get drunk or get laid or do both." Naruto Uzumaki, there you are. A familiar female voice speaks to him. Looking up, Naruto saw the lovely Kyoko Hayashi marching towards him with a stormy expression. Kyoko was the 30-years-old Fujimi High School ping pong club's advisor who was single, and she seemed to be unsatisfied with her life. Carefully spying on Kyoko's full figure with large breasts, he recalls overbearing a student named Imamura, saying that she gives off this aura like she's unsatisfied with her life. I wonder if I can satisfy her aura, Naruto thought pervertedly. But he remembers that Kyoko was seen in a bar with her arm around Tashima, suggesting that they shared a relationship outside of work. She was already with someone, so he's going to scratch that out. Then again he could try it with Shizuka Marikawa. Shizuka is the school nurse of Fujimi Academy, with recommended medical skills and extensive medical knowledge. However, Shizuka drew male attention due to being a tall buxom woman with ridiculous curves, and her physique is most pronounced by her humongous breasts. Plus, she was a 27-year-old bachelorette, which was no problem to him in asking her out. However, Shizuka was also the best friend and roommate of Rika Minami, a top sniper of Japan's Special Assault Team and also Naruto's ex-girlfriend. The two met each other during a cross-military training between SAT and Special Forces group, and it was hot and heavy when they are alone. However, they broke up due of Naruto suffering post-traumatic stress disorder. While they no longer a couple, they decided to stay as friends, and because of it, he knew it will be disrespectful in going out with his ex's best friend and roommate. I guess I'll have to get drunk, but then again, I might get lucky at bar tonight, he concluded before he replied, "You wanted to see me, Kyoko." It was several minutes later Naruto found himself in Shizuka's office. "Hey Shizuka," Naruto greets her. "How are you doing?" "I'm doing fine, Naruto, thank you," Shizuka responded with a big smile. "What can I do for you?" "Well, I wondered if you could do me a favor," he begins to ask. "I know that it's patient-doctor privacy or whatever, but I need only to know some information about certain students." "Even if you ask me, Naruto, that would be breaking my oath as a doctor. I can't just give out information without a good reason." Shizuka would be the first to admit that she'd do pretty much anything Naruto asked, but she needed to know more details before handing out delicate information. Naruto felt a bit unsure, but the truth here was important. "I understand. There's no choice then." He took a seat and faced her, but made sure they weren't being watched by peeking outside. "I have reason to believe that a teacher might be abusing some students." "Abusing? As in intentionally hurting?" she asked. "Why, you mean like Shidmu?" "What about Shidmu?" Naruto responded. "Well, it's rumored that you personally threatened Koichi Shido over a student," Shizuka pointed out. Koichi Shido was the teacher of class 3 at Fujimi Academy. Yet despite his role as teacher, Naruto extremely hated him for a number of reasons. For example, Shidmu was the son of a prominent politician, Ichiro Shido, who was a candidate for cabinet minister. While it is unknown whether he won the election for minister, he is seen to have a great amount of power and influence. Ichiro seems to fit the typical profile of a corrupt politician in that he uses illegitimate sources to acquire funding, he is adulterous, and he manipulates people who threaten to expose him into backing off. He also has some affiliation with Suichiro Takagi, the father of Saya Takagi. Ichiro is shown as being ruthless and power-hungry. He will do whatever it takes to protect his image and maintain his position. For example, he has his son hold Rei back a year in school to threaten her father, Tadashi Miyamoto, a detective working for the Public Safety Department, who has been conducting an investigation on Ichiro Shido's corrupted activities. Naruto hated Koichi for what he did to Rei. He also hated Koichi's father. Rei was a brilliant student he greatly admired, and see her being treated like that disgusted him. There come a time when people piss him off, he would secretly kidnap them, contain them in a hidden place, take a knife so he can hear them. "Naruto." Shizuka, speak up. Hearing Shizuka's raised tone of voice, Naruto's senses were back to reality as he says, "Huh? Are you okay?" she asked, looking concerned. "I'm fine, thank you, Shizuka," Naruto says, trying to brush off the subject. And anyway, yeah, I admitted that I personally threatened Koichi Shido over a student. Not just one student, but a number of students. Sooner or later he's going to go too far, and if something isn't done about him it will be already too late. I see. Well, let's see what we have. She started going through some of her records, while Naruto tried to refrain from staring too much at her perfect figure. He has to remember that she was Rika's best friend and roommate. While he had Rika no longer going out, he still respected her and has feelings towards her. He also has to show Shizuka respect, for she was studying to become a doctor at a college hospital. "Say Naruto, can I ask you a question?" Shizuka asked. "What is it, Shizuka?" he asked curiously. "You and Rika seemed to know each other a long time before I met her," Shizuka began to ask. "Were you in the police force as well? Like SAT?" Naruto look edgy when she says that. He very much doesn't like talk about his past. She aware that Rikia and him had been a couple before she came along. Yet she is not aware that he was a soldier in the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force, although he was confident he can trust her. No, I was not part of SAT, Naruto told her. I was part of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. I didn't know you were a soldier, Shizuka says. You don't look the type. And what type would I be? Naruto asked her. Well, Shizuka explained. You're the best guidance counselor Fujimi Academy has ever had. Everyone loved and trusted you. Students and teachers alike well expect Mr. Koichi Shido. I appreciate that, Shizuka, thank you. Naruto replied with a smile. She pulled out several files and handed it to him, here you go. I hope this is what you need, Naruto. Thanks, Shizuka, Naruto says as he took the files in hand. I appreciate your help. As Naruto getting ready to leave, Shizuka suddenly speaks up. Oh Naruto, do you have plans tonight? Stopping at the door, Naruto turned to face her and says why? Well, I was wondering if we share some drinks together tonight. Shizuka asked. Get drunk until there is no tomorrow. Hearing that, Naruto hesitated for a moment before he says I don't know about that, Shizuka. It's just. Is it because of Rika? Shizuka asked. What about Rika? Naruto responded. Well, Shizuka told him. I know that you and Rika broke up on something and that you're now friends. She told me you were too much of a gentleman and respectful friend to try ask me out behind her back because we live together as roommates. But she suggested that if I don't want to be home alone tonight I can hang out with you. What do you mean by that? Naruto asked her, confused. Rika says she isn't coming home tonight, Shizuka told. Says something about begins assigns to some important SAT mission. She says if I don't want to be home alone, I can hang out with you. Naruto was quiet and hesitated for a moment. I guess it's okay if that's what she wanted. Having a fourth drinker wouldn't hurt. Fourth drinker? Shizuka repeated. Ayoko asked me if she wants to hang out with her and Tashima at the bar. Naruto, this would probably be a double couple enjoying laughs and drinks. Yeah, it would be, says Shizuka. So what time would we meet at the bar? About 4:30 p.m., Naruto told her. Kyoko and Tashima will be waiting there at the bar. Good, would you pick me up after school? Shizuka request. Sure, Naruto says, just be ready when I pick you up. Okay then, Shizuka says with a smile. Chapter 2. The Last Night of Civilization. Ayoko Hayashi always liked to see herself as a professional. Professionals are members of a profession or any person who earns a living from a specified professional activity. The term also describes the standards of education and training that prepare members of the profession with the particular knowledge and skills necessary to perform their specific role within that profession. In addition, most professionals are subject to strict codes of conduct, enshrining rigorous ethical and moral obligations. As a teacher of Fujimi Academy and head of the ping pong club, Kyoko's job was to make sure the school perfectly operated in order. Such example is keep the students in line and make sure the teachers give a moral example while in the school grounds. So why am I trying to get him drunk and get him into bed with me? She wondered. Ayoko never considered herself a cheater. She and Tashima had a good relationship. However, every good relationship has its problems. And she and Tashima has some problems in their relationship. It was when her friend Aimi suggested that she was suffering the lacking and strongly desiring of sexual gratification. Maybe the problems Tashima and Kyoko were having been because Tashima does not satisfy her enough in bed. Aimi proposed that Kyoko get Naruto drunk and lure him in bed to fuck him. Since coming to Fujimi Academy, Naruto was the main attraction to all the adult females in the school. He was very handsome with spiky blonde hair, blue eyes, and fox-like whiskers. Not to mention he was well built, a perfect athlete with lightning-fast reflexes and great strength. One of the teachers thinks that Naruto must be a martial artist. That explained why he is so muscular and athletic he is. After months of talking with her old friend and planning, she had finally seen the opportunity to make her move on the handsome guidance counselor. When Koichi informed her yesterday of Naruto threatening him, Kyoko used the opportunity to sternly yet respectfully rebuke Naruto for threatening a fellow teacher. Once the air clear, she used the chance to invite Naruto share drinks with her and Tashima at bar. However, she knew that she was going to be at the bar alone, waiting for Naruto. Tashima told her he can't make it tonight because he has his hands full at school gym, that's going to take him all night. Sitting nervously on the chair of the bar, Kyoko leaned against the table. Her confident and unaffected mask fell as her face became a cherry red. She was having cold feet about this. She should never have listened to Aimi in the first place. The last thing she wanted to do was ruin her image and have him think of her as some slut or cheater. Unfortunately, Aimi, her friend, had advised that she shouldn't act the way she usually did after she got to this point. Why am I doing this? Kyoko wondered. Why did I follow Aimi's advice? I'm not a slut. And I'm not a cheater. I need to stop this before it's too late. Ayoko finally made a decision. When Naruto gets here, she tries to make an excuse of why Tashima is not here. They'll have a couple of drinks, not enough to get too drunk and spend an hour talking, both professionally and personally. Then the two of them would leave the bar and so their separate ways. "Hey Kyoko, how are you doing?" A familiar male voice speaks. Recognize it to be Naruto, Kyoko turned around to face him and Shizuka Marikawa, the school nurse of Fujimi Academy. Seeing her, Kyoko thought with a surprised confusion, what is she doing here? "Where is Tashima?" Naruto asked, looking around the bar for him. "Is he around?" "He says he wasn't going to make it tonight," Kyoko told him. "And he's very busy on something at the school." Kyoko was not prepared to see Shizuka Marikawa side by side with Naruto in bar today. From her point of view, she considered the school nurse as the biggest rival. While she knew that some of the other female staff also had their eyes set on Naruto, she was going to get him first. But if there was anyone that she had to worry about, it was Shizuka Marikawa. Kyoko is fully aware that Shizuka have some sort of connection to Naruto if their friendly interaction was anything to come by. Most wouldn't consider her a threat due to her airheaded nature, but Kyoko wasn't one of them. She was not blind like the others, for she always spots Shizuka staring at Naruto when he wasn't looking, and she knew then that if she decided to pursue the guidance counselor, then the nurse would be her opponent. As the two took a seat together, Naruto says, "So ladies, what do you all wants to talk about?" Before any of the women speaks, a barmaid approached their table and asks, "Oh Naruto, I already guess what you want." "You read my mind, Lisa," said Naruto. "But first, I think Kyoko and Shizuka should order their own drinks." "Order my own drinks?" Shizuka repeated in a confused state. "I take it this is the first time you've been to a bar?" Lisa says to Shizuka. "What type of drinks you want?" "Well," Shizuka begins. "I guess I can had some sake." "I'll have some sake too," Kyoko propose as well. "I'll have some sake as well," Naruto also propose along with Kai and SHMCHK. "Aren't you getting too heavy to drink, Naruto?" Kyoko asked. "I was planning on drink heavy, Kyoko," Naruto told her. "You know what," Shizuka says. "I don't mind drinking heavy. I'll have Chikai and SHMCHK as well." "What about you?" Lisa asked Kyoko. "You also wanted Chikai and SHMCHK." "No, I'll stay with sake," Kyoko insisted. Kyoko was not going to leave Naruto alone tonight with Shizuka. No way in hell is she going let this busty blonde nurse beat her to the punch. It was obvious to her that Shizuka was trying to take advantage of Naruto by getting him drunk so she can sleep with him. Then again, how am I any different than her? Kyoko wondered. Kyoko was smart enough to drink very lightly. Somehow, she was not that drunk than Naruto and Shizuka. The two were in state of drunken laughter, while Kyoko can smell the heavy amount of alcohol from her breath, yet she still attains her focus. She figures that they were here in the bar for over 6 hours, now at a late evening. Normally, Kyoko would have gone home already after school. This started by Aime's plan because she wanted to fuck Naruto by getting him drunk. Yet she has cold feet and has decided to share a few drinks with him for an hour before going home. But again that changed when Shizuka towards entered the scene. Is it because of her jealousy towards Shizuka was the main reason she stays? She really didn't want the buxom nurse to jump on Naruto's rod before her. Perhaps that's why she didn't go him. She was making sure Shizuka does not beat her to punch. Say Kyoko and Shizuka, Naruto begin to ask in a drunken state, "There is something I need to ask you." "What is it, Naruto?" Kyoko asked, well drunk. "You two are too sexy and gorgeous to be school nurse and teachers," he asked. "Had it ever crossed your mind in changing careers, like modeling?" Even drunk Kyoko wondered why Naruto asked her that. What make him think that she should be a model instead of a teacher? Then again, everyone in school always says that she was highly attractive. Not to mention catching rumors of how hot and curvy her figure is. Even Tashima would describe how hot a babe she really is. "I come from a respectable high-powered family, Naruto," Kyoko told him. "My mother and father were professional and serious business people who don't believe bending the rules, and everyone has to act normal and civilized. I guess inheriting their traits, I let my job and career consume me, forcing her to neglect her personal needs, as well as her friends and family. And becoming a model does not sound courteous and non-manual from my point of view." "That's funny," Shizuka replied after a drunk hiccup. "I thought it was because your heart was broken from a previous relationship turned bad, and a rigid upbringing has made you a very introverted person." "I don't know what you're talking about," Kyoko retort. "You see," Shizuka blabbermouth whilst drunks. Before she met Tashima, Kyoko had once been married to a man who left her because he can't have a baby. "Shizuka, shut up." Kyoko snapped at the nurse. "I didn't know you were married," Naruto says looking surprised. "And I'm sorry to hear that you can't have any kids." "It was a long time ago," Kyoko says, trying to change the subject. "It's all in the past right now. That's all." Kyoko very much do not want to talk about her ex-husband. Yet Shizuka was right why her ex left her. It was because she was infertile. She and her husband were high school sweethearts and wanted to have a family. However, they learn of her inability to become pregnant after 1 year of sex, which made it impossible for her to have children. This caused rift between them, result of her husband leaving her for another woman. Kyoko gave the drunk Shizuka an angry gaze for nearly revealing her most personal secret. She almost wishes she strangles the life out of that airheaded nurse. She hopes Naruto was too drunk to remember anything about it. Turning to Shizuka, Naruto asked her, "What about you, Shizuka?" "I never give it a thought of changing careers," Shizuka answers Naruto's questions. "While drunk I was too busy trying to be a doctor. And I think, begin a model, would be impossible since I was too ugly and fat to be a model." "Why would you think that?" Kyoko asked her, confused. "Well, Kyoko, I was an ugly duckling," Shizuka told her lazily. "Everybody, even my older brothers and sisters, think I was too ugly and fat to be married. And to make matters, I suffer much verbal and physical abuse from other students at school." "I'm sorry to hear that, Shizuka," Naruto reply in sympathy. "I appreciated that Naruto thanked you," Shizuka says before she begins, "and anyway I sometimes find comfort from the abuse by studying to be a doctor. I guess was inspired to be a doctor due of watching doctor drama TV series like her, Grey's Anatomy, or House. I was really improving my studies and knew that I was getting closer to my dreams of being a doctor. But something happens along the way," Kyoko guesses. "Yeah," Shizuka says. "Growing up, my body slowly but inevitably to change. My breasts started to grow bigger and bigger. Plus, I've been going gym every day, doing cardio training, and undergoing weight loss and developing attractive curves. Between my late years in high school and early years in college, everyone began to notice that I was the not ugly duckling anymore, yet it gotten worse." "How?" Naruto asked. "How could it ever get worse?" "Well, some of the boys made some sexual remarks about my body, harassing me wherever I go," Shizuka explained. "Plus the girls begin making up malicious rumors about me and accuse her of being sexually promiscuous. I thought I was going to be miserable for the rest of my life until I met Rika Minami." "Rika Minami?" Kyoko repeated. "My best friend and roommate and also Naruto's ex-girlfriend," Shizuka told her. "Ex-girlfriend?" Kyoko repeated with a mixture of disbelief and jealousy. "Yeah, my ex-girlfriend," Naruto admitted. "I met her joint exercises program between SAT and Special Forces group." Kyoko was completely speechless when Naruto said those two words before she replies, "What?" "Oh man," Naruto drunkenly reacted in a comedic way that was supposed to be a secret. "Alright, enough fooling around," Shizuka says, drunk but also impatient. "Why don't the three of us all stop fucking around and head back to Naruto's place to have sex? The night's still young." Looking at Shizuka with a stunned gaze, Kyoko reply, "What?" Beginning Kyoko's dream. Kyoko Hayashi's screams could be heard all across the hospital. She had entered the birthing bed more than 10 hours ago and she was still struggling to give birth to her baby. Helping her give birth was a doctor and a few nurses with him. "Push, Kyoko," the doctor told her. "You can do it. Just push." "Ah." Kyoko yelled, falling against the bed tiredly. "I can't. It hurts too much. I can't do it anymore." "You can do this, Kyoko. Just a little more. Please, just a little more," a nurse encouraged her. Kyoko didn't think she can get pregnant after her one-night stand with Naruto. It seemed the doctor who told her that her womb is too barren to conceive a child was wrong after all. Kyoko was here in the hospital, ready to give birth. However, the pregnancy was something she did no plan ahead. "Naruto Shizuka." Kyoko angrily whimpered. Kyoko wanted to blame those two for putting her in this position. She blamed Naruto for not practicing safe sex. And she blamed Shizuka for starting that miracle baby thing. And to add insult to injury, Naruto wasn't around to take responsibility. He just left her to handle the baby on her own. "Come on, Kyoko. Just a little more and you will have your baby with you." Summoning all the strength in her body, Kyoko pushed as hard as she could once more, screaming so loud that the whole building looks as if it's going to crash and burn. Moments later an infant's cry filled the room as the doctor gently grasped a baby in his hands. "Congratulations, Kyoko," the doctor praises. "You have a daughter." Kyoko panting heavily trying to recover her breath and energy. As she attempted to see her baby, she was suddenly stabbed another pain to her stomach. "It hurts." Kyoko yelled, falling back against the bed again. "The pain has come back." "And B," the doctor responded in disbelief. "Your baby is already born." He gave the baby to one of the nurse and checked to see what was causing Kyoko pain. Finding the source, the doctor announced, "I see head. It looked to me like you're giving birth to twins." Once more, Kyoko revert back to her concentration to give birth. Once more, her body undergo the agonizing experiences to give birth. Yet as Kyoko felt the second child leaving her body, she suddenly felt a third stab of pain in her stomach. Without warning, Kyoko gave birth for a third time. "What going on?" Kyoko cried out. "What's is happening to me?" Horrified, Kyoko walked as her body gave birth to baby after baby. Within 10 minutes, each nurse that came in the room were holding 25 babies in her arms. And she doesn't seem to be stopping as more baby keep popping out from between her legs. Their continued crying was getting louder and louder that seemed to be spreading across the hospital, increasing with each birth. This was too much. This was insane. This is too much. A sweaty and laboring Kyoko cried out in disbelief. This cannot be happening to me. Oh, but it is happening, her doctor stated. At this rate, baby are keeping popping out of you as if there is no tomorrow. No. Kyoko screamed, helplessly trying to stop her body and giving birth over and over again. Please stop. Oh, in the name of God, please stop this. Naruto, damn you. Damn you for doing this to me. Damn you Shizuka. Damn you all to hell. And Kyoko's dream. Jolting up in bed, Kyoko breathed deeply and raggedly as she found herself out of the realm of nightmare and back into reality to face another day. Rubbing her face with her hands, she looked down at her stomach, discovered that she wasn't pregnant. Thank God that it was just a horrible dream, she allowed herself some time to calm down. Once she was sure that her heart wasn't going to implode in her chest, she began to look around her surroundings. She was still in bed with Naruto and Shizuka who were asleep. What time is it? She wondered. Gazing at Naruto's clock, Kyoko discovered that it was 7 a.m. 7 o'clock. She reacted in shock. I was supposed to be up an hour ago. Despite how seriously worn out her body is, Kyoko became a blur from the bed. She quickly gathered her clothes which, along with his own, had been strewn around Naruto's bedroom as they found their way to the bed last night. Hey, what's going on? While getting dressed, Kyoko turned around and see that Naruto has woke up. Also waking up was Shizuka. At 7 a.m., she informed them as she tried to put one leg into her stockings. We need to get school right away. Rubbing his eyes, Naruto look around, sees a half-dressed Kyoko and naked Shizuka in bed with him before he says with a stunned look on his face, hold on a second, did we just did it last night? This is not the time Naruto, Kyoko retorted as she attached her bra to her massive breasts. We already late according by schedule. Kyoko, what is the big rush? Shizuka replied, while rubbing her eyes. It's not like it's the end of the world or something. Buttoning up her shirt, Kyoko barely threw Shizuka a glance as she brought her hair up into a messy bun. Unlike you Shizuka, I have a schedule that I like to keep, which dictates that I would be there for my early club meetings with everything already set up. After she grabbed her purse and leaving the room, Shizuka asked, hey Naruto. You don't mind if I take a shower before I leave? Sure, I don't mind, Naruto replied. I can take you to work if you need a ride. No, that's okay, Shizuka replied. I need get home to change into new clothes. People at school will wonder what I'm doing with the same clothes from yesterday. Shizuka took her turn of the showers and left, but not before Naruto made her breakfast. He would have given Kyoko some breakfast if she wasn't much of a perfectionist in her profession. He relaxes 30 minutes in the shower before he changed into his professional outfit as a school guidance counselor. He then went into the kitchen, grabbed a piece of fruit from the bowl in the middle of the counter, quickly devoured it and headed into the garage. Naruto just as he got on his black motorcycle, putting on his helmet before he turned his bike on and drove off. Despite heavy traffic, Naruto was familiar with the routes and roads that get him to school on early state. Finally arriving at the school gate, he'd spots a short and slightly pudgy. He had yellow hair and wore a black jacket with a high collar and black pants. Naruto knew who it was, for it was Takeyama, the PE teacher of Fujimi Academy. Naruto saw him more as an acquaintance than a friend, but he didn't mind talking to him. Takeyama then notices him and gives them a friendly smile. Naruto, how you are this morning? Naruto replied, I have been doing well Takeyama, thank you. Well then I should be going, he says. Have a good day. Hey Naruto, a familiar voice spoken from behind. Naruto turns around and find himself face to face with Tashima, Kyoko's boyfriend. Tashima was a tall man with black hair. He wore a light blue shirt with a high collar and black pants. Yet he was known to be a bit arrogant and overly aggressive. Hi, you doing Tashima, Naruto greets him. Did you by any chance seen Kyoko last night did you? Tashima questioned him. Naruto knew that he and Kyoko were a couple. He knew that Tashima didn't like him, that also knew it was not the time to tell her the last time he saw her was Kyoko leaving his bedroom at his house after she and Shizuka had hot sexual threesome. So, he did one thing to deal with the situation, lied. The last time I saw her she was drunk, Naruto told him. She and the nurse Shizuka. I rent them a motel room for them just tonight until they sober up. Oh really? Tashima responded as if he does not believe. I never knew Kyoko to be a heavy drinker. What's is that supposed to mean? Naruto replied. Did you ever get drunk as well? Tashima also questioned him on that subject as well. What's with the questions Tashima? Naruto responded, getting annoyed. If you have something to say, say it. The little birdie told me that you and Shizuka were heavily drunk and Kyoko was the one to take both of you out of that bar. Tashima told him. Like whom? Naruto asked, curious. Shido. He revealed. Koichi Shido. Class 3As teacher of Fujimi Academy. Naruto should have known he was behind this. He must have spotted him leaving the bar with Kyoko and Shizuka. And he must have come up with story to twist the facts with Tashima to send him on Naruto's way like an angry pit bull. The two hated each other with passion. Naruto always steps in when Shido take it too far with the students of Fujimi Academy. According to Rei, she personally hates Shido because she told him once that Shido held her back a year. There were several students who has told Naruto how they feels about Shido. From their point of view, the man was cruel and heartless, his soul black as a black cat in the middle of a moonless night. Don't tell me you believe a word of that, snake. Naruto questioned Tashima. Everybody knows there is no love between the two of us. He just saying that just start something between the both of us. Tashima thought for a minute and replied, maybe you're right. I never could trust that snake. If you want to answer, go ask Kyoko yourself, Naruto told him. Maybe I will, says Tashima as he gets ready to leave. You better hope her story is the same as yours. Due to long exhausting sex last night, Kyoko Hayashi could had just stay home and call in sick. Her whole body was still sore due going over multiple rounds in bed with Naruto and Shizuka, adding the bad effects of many drinks she has. Not to mention her ass is really sore. But the last thing she needed was to raise some suspicion about why she was not coming to school today. So, she has no choice but to endure it. Not to mention lying to Tashima of where she really is last night. It was by some chance she was walking by that she overheard a conversation between Naruto and Tashima. They didn't seem her, but she heard Tashima suspecting her and Shizuka going home with Naruto last night. However, Naruto lied, saying that Kyoko was heavily drunk and Naruto dropped them off in a hotel because they were too drunk to drive home. Kyoko didn't like to lie to Tashima, but she was too embarrassed to tell the truth, especially to the point of cheating on him. So when an hour later, when Tashima asked her where was she last night, Kyoko had no choice to lie. Shido says that he saw both you and Shizuka left with Naruto last night from a bar, Tashima confirmed. We did, Kyoko replied. Both me and Shizuka were so drunk, Naruto rent us a hotel because we were too drunk to drive home. You should've called me, Kyoko. Tashima stated. I would have picked you up and take you home. Well, I guess I didn't, Kyoko says, trying to change the subject. What's your problem, Tashima? I got no problem, Kyoko, Tashima answered. I just wondered what you were doing with Naruto last night. Kyoko stared at him for a moment before she says, is this because of Shido? You know that he and Naruto hate each other. I know, Tashima says hesitantly. It's just well. Just what? Kyoko responded. Spit it out, Tashima. I've been hearing rumors that most of the female teachers in school had been talking about sleeping with Naruto, that's all. Tashima admitted. Kyoko was careful to hide her nervousness behind her professional mask. She responded, is that what you think I'll do? Seek out Naruto and sleep with him, behind your back. I admitted Naruto is handsome, hunk Tashima, and I admit that I've been hearing most of the female teachers talks about how much they wants to sleep with him, Kyoko approved her point of view. But do you really think of me of how far I would fall in and become a slut? Kyoko was guilty for saying. Of course she has fallen so far in and become a slut. She was liar. She was a hypocrite. A whore. A cheater. The worst part, the sex she had with Naruto was worth it. Kyoko remembers the day Naruto first came to Fujimi High School to work as a guidance counselor. He was handsome and well built. He created an aura of attraction around him. Some of the female teachers talks and wondered if he's secretly a sex god. That is where it all started. How Kyoko secretly wanted Naruto. She found out last night he really is a sex god when he took on both her and Shizuka. And while it was the best sex she experiences in a lifetime, she was still guilty of cheating on Tashima. I guess not, Kyoko, sorry, Tashima apologizes. I mean, since the day he came here, I've been noticing all the women had the hots on him, especially that nurse, Shizuka. Now Kyoko was starting to become worried about Shizuka. What if Tashima asked Shizuka where she, Kyoko, and Naruto had been last night? She knew she could keep a secret. Naruto is willing to keep a secret. But Shizuka was going to be a problem. It was without warning. A couple of teachers ran by them. One of them says to Tashima. Kyoko. There is trouble at the front gate. Front gate? Kyoko repeated. What do you mean? Some guy is trying break through the school gate, the other explained. Break through the school gate? Kyoko reacted with surprise. Kyoko and Tashima catch up to the teachers towards the direction of the school gate. When they finally arrived at the destination, they see a man trying to bust through the school gate. It was when Kyoko's strict professional attitude kicks in. Who are you? Kyoko demanded. Stop this nonsense at once. The man looks like he was drunk or ill. Yet he doesn't look either. Just what the hell was wrong with him? I don't know who you are, Kyoko raises her tone. But if you don't leave, I'm calling the police. The man seems reacted violently as if he was trying break through the gates as if he's reaching for them. It was when Kyoko felt the sense of danger getting stronger within her. Something tells her that there was something wrong with this man and it's best to keep your distance. I think I can handle this guy, Kyoko, Tashima says as he steps forward. No need for you to raise the tone of your voice. Reaching through the school gate, Tashima grabs the man and proceeded to slam him roughly against the bars while retorting, look here, Buster. Tashima, there is no need for you to get violent. Kyoto protested, worried. It was when Kyoyo noticed that something fell out of the man's mouth. Looking closely, she reacted in shock to what she saw. Fingers. Without warning, the man grabs Tashima by the arm and took big bite out of it. Tashima fell back and rolled on the ground, screaming in pain. Kyoyo and the teachers were in horror of what they saw as shouts occurred around Tashima, who fell to the ground. Somebody stops the blood. Get the school nurse. Call the police. And an ambulance. Teshimai. Stay with us. No, I can't stop the blood. Tashima continued to thrash about until he suddenly stops. He's dead, one of the teachers said in shock. And no way, how can that be? It was only a bite, Kyoko sobbed. They soon noticed his twitching hand. His eyes soon flew open, making them sigh in relief. Kyoko then quickly made his way to him. Tashima. Are you alright? Say something. Kyoko's words were cut off when Tashima suddenly reached his hand up, pulling Kyoko towards him with his mouth wide open. He was about to bite her when. Bang. Something just blew Tashima's brains out. Splatter blood and pieces of brains scatter across the face, most hit Kyoko. Shocked of what just happened, Kyoko turns around to see Naruto standing there, pointing a gun at Tashima's direction. Then Naruto. Kyoko reacted in horror. You just killed Tashima. He was going to kill you if I didn't step in, he replied calmly. And he was already dead. Kyoko saw something she never though she seen in Naruto's eyes, the icy gaze of a killer. Why do you have a gun in the school? One of the teachers asked, while shocked of what Naruto did. It was without warning. The school's intercom then suddenly went on, catching their attention. Attention all students and teachers. The principal's voice speaks, tone sounded anxious. At this time there is a violent struggle going on school grounds. Everybody is to remain in class and follow your teacher's orders. The man behind the microphone paused as he made indistinct noises. It was when they heard the man behind the mic whimper before yelling out. Wait. No. Don't. Gah. The man screamed loudly through the intercom as something or someone had attacked him, cutting him off from his announcement. There was silence in the air. Then it ended with chaos. Damn it. Naruto cursed as he cocks his gun before turning to Kyoko and asked Kyoko, do you think you can get to Shizuka's office? Yes, I think I can, Kyoko finally spoke, still looking at Naruto as if he was a stranger. Then get there quickly. He ordered her. I'll catch up to you later. Where are you going? Kyoko shouted as she watched Naruto run to a different direction. I'm going to try to save as many people as I can, he shouted back. Just get to Shizuka's office. Now. Kyoko stared after Naruto. She wondered, why do you have a gun in the school, Naruto? Okada, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Kazu Ishii, a second-year student at Fujimi Academy, tearfully smashed the head of his former best friend Okada with an IV stand. When the attack on the school, Kazu and Okada were trying to escape the zombies, straight for Shizuka Marikawa's nurse office. However, Okada was bitten in the progress of their escape. He died then came back as one of them. What am I going to do? Shizuka wondered as moving me around the room. I can't get in contact with the police or fire department. How could I treat people of a disease that is untreatable? Especially one that killed people through bites and bring them back alive as undead ghouls. However, Shizuka's mind was on Naruto. With the chaos in the school, Shizuka wondered if he's okay. She was taking a nap. Still worn out from the great sex she has with him last night. That's when all hell broke loose when zombies attacked the school. With these them biting and infecting people, Shizuka was worried Naruto might be caught in the madness. I don't think it's the time to be impressed, Shizuka-sensei, Kazu said, while protecting her. We need to go, now. We can't stay here. We need to get out of here and fast. Hold on a sec. I should take whatever I can carry, just in case. Shizuka replied. Then please hurry, Shizuka-sensei, Kazu said. Without warning, the window of the nurse's office busted open. A number of zombies pouring into the room and crawling inside. Shizuka-sensei. Watch out. Kazu cried, getting in front of her with the IV pole in hand, just as she finished packing everything she needed. Unfortunately, the pole was knocked out of his hands, leading him to be quickly bitten as Shizuka looked on in horror. Shizuka-sensei, please get away. Kazu screamed, trying to stop the zombies from reaching her, despite being bitten. I'm sorry, what did you say your name was again? Shizuka cried out in an idiotic ditzy manner. What? Kazu responded as he fell to the floor with more zombies on him. Shizuka was forced back as the surrounded zombies closed into her, blocking her escaping. They were about to attack her when out of nowhere, another student, a tall 17-year-old girl with straight and shiny thigh-length straight purple hair that has a triangular fringe at the front which barely touches the ridge of her nose, came down on them. Moving through unnatural speeds, she killed one zombie after another with a wooden bakken. Although not a real sword, the girl's speed, skill, and strength was powerful enough to kill a normal person to the head. In an instant all the zombies were dead. She then walked to Kazu and introduced herself, putting a hand on the student's shoulder. My name is Seiko Busajima, captain of the Kendo Club and member of SIDC. She says before she asked, tell me, what's your name, kid? Ishi Kazu, he replied while threw up a little of blood. You fought bravely to protect Marikawa-sensei, she told. Your courage is nothing short of praiseworthy. As Seiko spoke to Kazu, Kyoko arrived and Shizuka sees her, says Kyoko. I'm glad you're alive. Have you seen Naruto? Yes, Kyoko says. He sent me here. And he left somewhere else, I don't know. But he says something about trying save as many people as possible. Shizuka started to look worried. She just hopes Naruto doesn't get himself killed in the progress. There was so much she wanted to tell him. Shizuka, Kyoko begins to ask. Can I ask you a question? What is it? Shizuka replied as she noticed a look on Kyoko. Kyoko was silent for a moment before she asked, did you know Naruto has a gun in school? A gun? Shizuka repeated, looking confused. What are you talking about? This is not the time of questions and answers, ladies, Seiko interrupted them. We need to go now. We need to find Mr. Uzumaki. Morita. One of Takashi Kimuro's friends, Morita, and his gang hung out on top of the roof of their high school. He was known to play guitar and he was interested in starting a band that he hoped will attract a lot of girls. Naruto has known Morita pretty well as he often visited him in the office. Morita shared everything with him, especially his bookmaster Morita's top secret list of Fujimi Academy's AAA grade hot girls. Hashimi Nikki and Miss Yuzu Ichiju. Two best friends from day one. Naruto often seen them side by side, always close. Each of the girl that comes to his office would talk highly with him about one another. Yet during his conversation with Miss Yuzu Ichiju, Naruto senses something out of place with her, the type that is not so committed to a friend, especially in times of needs. Imamura. Another friend of Kimuro's, Imamura was a stereotypical bad high school student who has a habit of breaking the school rules for smoking and is attracted to older women while had little interest to girls his age. Naruto seemed to be the only teacher in Fujimi Academy that Imamura respected and is more open to. Almost every student he knew in Fujimi Academy was dead or worse is now one of them. Naruto has to put them down. And hurts like hell to do so. Especially since he knew them personally. How the hell could this happen? Naruto wondered as he fought through a mob of zombies. What went wrong? It was okay this morning when he came to school. And without warning, all hell break loose. Well, nobody seen it coming, he did it. While he was in his office, he suddenly got that feeling. A feeling of something bad was coming. It was the reason why he got his gun. Bringing a gun to school is clear violation to school regulations. Unlawfully, a student may have a reason to bring a gun to protect himself or herself from bullies. But a teacher like Naruto, it does not supposed to happen. Well, not for normal teachers, that is. Naruto, he was a struggling recovered of post-traumatic stress disorder after his military service in the Japan Self-Defense Force. It's not like he was going to school to protect himself from bullies, he does not need a gun for that. For some unknown reason he tries not think of it. Yet Naruto knew the reason he did not kill himself because he does not want to face his mother on the other side, piss off. Naruto's mother, Kishina Uzumaki, was extremely proud of her heritage as American and a Japanese. She accepted the best of both worlds and rejected some attribute. Like suicide. Kishina believed people who committed suicide take the easier way put. She personally hated it when people waste their life for nothing and life was precious, every second of it. When the popular reputation as a guidance counselor, pills to treat post-traumatic stress disorder addicts, sex and alcohol were not enough, Naruto though about biting a bullet to escape the suffering. Yet there was some moment Naruto could swear he saw his mother appeared out of nowhere, giving him a cold stare. That was the reason why he could not kill himself. Maybe it's the ghost of his mother. Or maybe it's the young students of Fujimi Academy. Still, he had not departed the gun from him. He tries find a number of reasons why he gun with him until the dead invade and attack the school. Naruto was already familiar with zombies the movies. Night of the Walking Dead, Dawn of the Dead, 28 Days Later, etc. Movies about zombies rising from the dead, hunting, attacking, and infecting the living. It never crosses his mind that something from fictional would cross until the real world, until now. Despite having the gun with him, Naruto was limited to shots he needed to be very careful to use. With an army combat knife, which Kyoko didn't see, Naruto uses CQB techniques to fight through an army of zombies. Thanks to his wisdom of zombies from movies he's seen, Naruto makes sure they stay down by destroying the brains within their heads. However, this was not as easy as he thinks it would be. For every zombie he killed, 3 take its place. And the more he put his effort in killing a zombie, the more tired he becomes. It was like fighting a wave of oceans that is endless and persisted. A normal person would have fallen. But Naruto was no normal person. He was not going to give up. He refused to give up. It didn't take long for him to realize that there was no more zombies killed. Breathing heavily and standing next to the school window, he discovered that he was now the last man standing. I need catch my breath, he'd exhausted while trying to collect his reserve energies. Just for a. It happened so fast, someone or something struck him from behind. Enough force to send him out through the window. Crashing on top of the car, from 4 floors high, Naruto was completely stunned and immobilized. He tries to stay awake, but darkness around him begin to close in. And before he knew it, he was lost. Hold on a second, has anyone seen Mr. Naruto Uzumaki? Rei Miyamoto suddenly asked. At that moment Rei says that Takashi Kimuro suddenly can't believe that they had forgotten about Mr. Naruto Uzumaki. He recalls the last time he saw the guidance counselor. Shortly before the zombies attacked the Fujimi Academy, Takashi, who is skipping class, met with Saya, who was nagging him over the fact that Rei, his childhood crush, was dating his best friend, Hisashi Aigu. Moody, Takashi remembers trying to find a perfect spot to be alone, to avoid Saya's nagging. It was when he sees something happening at the front gate. Takashi witnesses Kyoko Hayashi, Tashima, and a couple of other teachers going to the front gate to confront a strange man. The man is one of them, and he bites Tashima, who subsequently dies, turns, and would bites Kyoko if Mr. Naruto Uzumaki didn't shoot Tashima with a gun. Now in that moment, Takashi never seen anyone shoot somebody. But he never seen Naruto with a gun, especially shoot someone. It was someone he never seen before. Someone he knew. Yet he didn't had time to think on the subject as he senses something bad was going to happen in the school unless he doesn't hurry, and he was right. The school was in utter chaos. There is mass amount of death around them to make worse, them zombies were walking around. Right now, he and Rei had met other survivors of the school. Seiko Busujima, Saya Takagi, Kota Hirano, Shizuka Marikawa, and Kyoko Hayashi. After casually greeting each other and dealing with Saya's breakdown, they barricade themselves in the faculty room. They decide to take a break and formulate an escape plan out of the school. Takashi asks Shizuka if she has her car keys, but they realize her car wouldn't be big enough for all of them. Kota points out the minibus in the parking lot, and Takashi decides that they can take the bus to their houses to make sure their families are okay and then find somewhere safe. It was when Takashi notices that Rei, who is watching a news program on the television, is worried, and they turn the volume up to see what it is. The reporter on the program begins to talk about the government declaring a state of emergency, but is cut off when corpses behind her become them and attack. The program cuts to the news studio. After seeing reports of the same situation all over the world, Saya concludes that it is a pandemic. Since they have no way of knowing how long the pandemic will last, they decide to focus on finding their families. That is when Rei mentions Naruto's name. I hadn't seen him since he ordered me straight to the nurse office, says Kyoko, before turning to the rest of the group. He says he was going to try help save as many people as possible. What about the rest of you? Kyoko was talking to Seiko, Saya and Kota. Saya replied, no, I hadn't seen Mr. Uzumaki. He could be dead. No. I don't believe that. Shizuka snapped. I don't believe Naruto is dead. Yeah, Miss Marikawa is right. Kota agreed. There is no way Mr. Uzumaki is dead. No way. How would you know? Saya challenged Kota on that subject. After what happened here today, there is an unlikely chance Mr. Uzumaki is dead. He can't be dead. Kota insisted. There is no way Mr. Uzumaki is dead. We still don't know where he is, you idiot, Saya retorted. Sooner or later, Mr. Uzumaki is ended up getting killed by these monsters like the rest of the teachers. Naruto is going to be alright, Shizuka replied. You see. She stops herself. She almost revealed to everyone that Naruto was once a veteran combat soldier in the Japan Self-Defense Forces army. Since coming to Fujimi Academy as guidance counselor, Naruto really didn't want anyone to find out that he was a soldier. Respecting his wishes, Shizuka was careful to maintain his secrecy. A soldier? Kota finished the nurse's words without thinking. Everyone who heard that looked back and forth to Kota and Shizuka, confused. What do you mean a soldier? Rei asked, looking puzzled. Mr. Uzumaki is not a soldier. The others noticed how nervous Kota and Shizuka and Takashi asked, was our guidance counselor really an ex-soldier? Yes, he was, Shizuka admitted. Naruto was once a member of Japan's Self-Defense Forces army. He was once part of Special Forces Group. Special Forces Group? Saya repeated, looking surprised. Are you telling me Mr. Uzumaki was once a member of the Special Forces Group? Special Forces Group? Takashi repeated. What's that? It is the Japan Ground Self-Defense Forces Special Forces Unit, Saya explained. It was created by the then Defense Agency to counter terrorist activities and deter guerrilla-style attacks on Japanese soil and to conduct military operations against guerrillas or enemy commandos. My dad had hired several former members of the Special Forces Group to serve an elite bodyguard within the family. I didn't know Mr. Uzumaki was a former soldier of Japan's Self-Defense Forces Army, especially begin an ex-member of Special Forces Group, says Takashi, who was startled to hear this information about Naruto. Neither of us had, says Siko. Yet he has good reason to keep it a secret. Turning to Kota, Siko says strangely, you seem to know about Naruto's former profession. Kota got a little nervous and says, it's a long story. The long story is another time, says Kyoko. Right now, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. But what about Mr. Uzumaki? Takashi protested. If he's alive somewhere, we can't just leave without him. Don't worry Takashi, says Kota. There is no way Mr. Uzumaki would get easily killed. He's right Takashi, Saya agreed. The guys from Special Forces Group that my dad hired are professional, tough and dangerous. They've been referred to as Japan's Green Berets and Delta Force for a reason. If Mr. Uzumaki is a former Special Forces Group, then he's going to be okay. Gathering their supplies together, the group decided to make their way to the parking lot. However, they knew that getting out the school would not be easy. It was still crawling with zombies. However, outside the school's limits was their families waiting for them. And there was no way in hell they were not going to let these things stand in their way. While walking through the rooms, hallways and stairs, they noticed a large number of dead bodies, zombies, lying around, along the way. From the looks of it, it's almost as if someone used a knife and stabbed their brain to keep them down for good. Takashi suspected that Naruto was responsible. It really amazed him that the guidance counselor was really a former member of the Special Forces Group. He recalls his conversations with Naruto. The man was a decent and respectful man who is willing to listen to everyone. Not to mention having a compassionate side. And just a few minutes ago, he found out that Naruto was a former soldier for the Japan Self-Defense Forces Army. He wondered why Naruto kept it a secret. And he wondered why he never mentioned about it. It was said he never to existed in the guidance counselor. On their way to the front entrance of the school, the group was alert of a scream from out of nowhere. Looking down below the stairs they see 5 students struggling on their own against a large number of zombies. Takashi recognizes some of the students. One was Takuzo, his girlfriend Naomi and Kawamoto. Takashi and the others wasted no time to come to their rescue. Kota eliminated a couple with his homemade gun from a distance. Takashi and Siko fought in close range, killing any zombie they face. Takashi with his baseball bat and Siko with her wooden sword. In a matter of minutes, all the zombies are dead. Thank you. One of the girls said with deep relief. Have any of you seen Mr. Uzumaki? Rei asked. No, we hadn't, Takuzo replied. We were too busy fighting for our lives to see any survivors around. Did any of you get bitten? Siko asked. These things spread their infection through bites. No, none of us had not been bitten or infected, replied Kawamoto. Well, if none of you had been bitten then you're welcome to come with us, says Takashi. We are getting the hell out of here. But the two groups of survivors now becoming one, the United made their way to escape the school. The course was very slowing and careful. The last thing they wanted was to catch the dead's attention. Yet, when they reach the stairway, they are forced to stop when they find a group of them blocking their way. We need to be very careful. Saya warned everyone. Those things, with their superior hearing despite their blindness, will be on us before we can escape to the parking lot. And I guess I'll go first to test this theory of yours. Takashi offered. If you're going then I'm coming with you. Rei says. Me too. Siko also volunteers. No. Takashi replied. I think this can work when I'm alone. Just stay quiet and stay put. Takashi stepped down onto the bottom floor. He slowly made his way down the stairs as others all watched from the top of the last flight of stairs. He quietly walked out to the center of the room and began holding his breath as the undead moved past him. One came close enough to nearly bump into him before it slunk past him down a hallway. From the looks of it, it seems Saya was right. These things were blind. They were using their superior hearing to react to sound and like a pack of wolves, they hunted for their prey. It was when Takashi spotted an abandoned bloody shoe in the middle of the floor, an idea came up. Picking it up, he took aim and threw it down one of the nearby halls, managing to land it against an already busted window on one of the classroom doors. The glass broke from the impact of the shoe, and every zombie in the lobby that heard it began moving toward the sound of breaking glass. With the zombies distracted, Takashi waved for the others to come down and join him, and they quietly made their way to the front doors of the lobby and out into the courtyard. Just when they think they're home free, one of the survivor from Takuzo's group managed to crack his weapon, a metal rod, against the stairway railing. The hollow pipe designs the school used was an excellent conductor of sound, and with that simple act, the boy had literally rung the dinner bell. "Run!" Takashi cried. They ran as fast as they could while trying their hardest not to be caught and cornered. Yet the zombies were hot on the trail. They need to get to the parking lot. To the bus. It's their only chance to survive and escape. They managed to arrive in the parking lot and were able to seize the bus from distance. Yet there were a couple of zombies in their way. They had fight their way through to get to the bus. "Takuzo? Look out!" Kyoko shouted a warning. It was too late. Takuzo was eventually surrounded by them. Though he succeeds in killing one of them, another grabs his sports towel and refuses to let go, causing the boy to drop his bat. Takuzo tries to punch it away, but it proves unrelenting and bites his arm, followed by another who bites the other arm. Highs tackled to the ground while letting out an agonizing scream. "No!" Naomi cried out on horror. "Takuzo! Naomi, run!" Takuzo shouted his last words to his girlfriend before he is overwhelmed. Yet Takuzo's words didn't seem to reach Naomi. She was about to go to Takuzo's direction when Saya stops her. It's too late for him. Saya says as she tries to stop Naomi from running into her death. Yet Naomi refuses to leave behind the boy she loved to die. She escaped the Saya's hold and fled to her inevitable death. I don't understand it. Why would she go in if she knew he can't save him? Saya asked herself as she watched the girl run towards the Takuzo's direction. Some people would rather die with the ones they love, said Shizuka, understanding the girl's motives. She suddenly thought about Naruto and hope he alright. Kakashi was the first to reach the bus, opening the door before he calls out to Siko as she kills another zombie along the way. "Everybody inside!" Shizuka yelled before she turns her full focus on the controls were. "Okay, brake, clutch, gas. Are you sure you know how to drive this vehicle?" Kyoko asked Shizuka, looking at her with a dumbstruck look on her face. It was when Kota spots a group of students heading their way, shouting, "Hey guys. I think we're about had some company. Look." Everyone turns to the direction where Kota was pointing. They see a group of students heading their way. Rei's eyes widen immediately when she recognizes the one of them. Shido Koichi, the only man she hates in the world. "Leave him." Rei suddenly retorts. "What?" Takashi reacted with confused look on his face. "Leave him, Takashi." Rei persisted. "He's too dangerous to have with us." Everybody heads to the bus. Shido shouted as he stopped and let his students go first. It was without warning, one of the students from Shido's group, who was wearing glasses, tripped on his own feet. He flew into the ground, landing next to the Shido's feet. "I've sprained my ankle." The boy in glasses cried out as he grabbed the hem of Shido's pants. "Mr. Koichi. Please help me." Shido looked down at the boy in disgust, pushing on the bridge of his glasses. He gave the helpless boy an evil grin as he replies, "In this kind of situation there is no need for the weak." Pulling his leg away from the boy's grip, Shido then curb stomped the boy in the face, breaking his glasses and nose. He then ran towards the bus while the boy he left behind is under the mercy of the hungry zombies. Angry that Shido made it, Rei stares at Takashi and says, "You're going to regret this." Takashi was still confused of why she hated the man. "Everybody is in then. Miss Murakawa, we can go now," Siko said as she motioned the busty blonde doctor to start driving. Shizuka started the ignition, switching the handle to drive. Shizuka was ready to head out when Kota suddenly shouted, "Hold on. I see Mr. Uzumaki." Everyone on the bus look out and see someone still left alive. He was making his way out of school's front door. The moment Shizuka saw him, she almost cried in joy, glad that he was still alive. Unbuckling her seatbelt, she jumped out of her seat to make her way to the door, but was stopped by Saya and Siko. "Miss Murakawa, you can't go out there. It's too dangerous." Saya warned him. "But Naruto, it out there." Shizuka persisted in desperation. "Mr. Uzumaki." Rei shouted through the window of the bus. "We're over here. Just come to this direction." "Leave him." Everyone turns to whoever says that. That someone was Shido Koichi. "What did you just say?" Kyoko reacted with a shocked look on her face. "I said leave him." Shido insisted. "He's already dead." "What are you talking about?" Kota angrily responded. "He's out there, alive." "I say he's already dead." Shido raised his tone. "He's been bitten." Everyone was stunned from what Shido. Bitten means you're going to turn into one of them. Shizuka refused to believe it. She retorts, that's not true. Naruto is not infected. She right. Kyoko agreed with Shizuka. I was with him and he was not bitten by any of those things out there when they attacked the school. I saw it with my own eyes. Shido pointed out. He gotten bitten by one of the monsters. You're lying. Takashi responded with disbelief. In his mind, it can't be Naruto Uzumaki. Not him. Not him too. You don't believe me? Shido challenged them on the subject. Ask them. They saw it happen. Shido pointed to the students that were with him. It's true, says the first student in Shido's group, known as Tsunoda. Mr. Uzumaki gotten bitten by one of those things. Yeah, another student, named Kurakami agreed. We saw it happened when we were in the school. You're lying. Shizuka responded with a weak defense, paled at this acknowledgement. You're all lying. Shizuka. Kyoko sympathized as she knew how the nurse really feels for Naruto. It's true, we saw him get bit by one of those things. Can we just go now? One of Shio's students, named Miura, yelled out from the back of the bus. Shizuka was devastated. Completely devastated. All her life, she was finally having chance with Naruto, and it was not just the sex last night. Deep down, she imagined spending her whole life with him. Now those chances have been thrown out into the window. Knowing that the infection was inevitable and there was a powerful chance he might turn and pose a risk for everyone on the bus, a tearfully Shizuka took her seat back and slowly once again started the bus. She tries to take one last time to look of Naruto. Something inside her tells her not to and keep driving. If she even once looks at him for a mere moment, she will crack and go rush to him anyway. Naruto, forgive me. Shizuka thought with tears as she drives away the mob of zombies, away from the school, not looking back. Forgive me. How far can a human being fall and survive? Normally, not very far. People usually survive falls from a height of 20 to 25 feet, 6 to 8 meters, but above that, things get very deadly very fast. Even by some miracle they did survive the fall, they would spend an extended amount of time in the hospital between several weeks and several months. They would undergo serious therapy and treatment to be at full health, such learning how to walk. Naruto was not a normal person. If he was, he would not got up and kept on walking. Through injuries were serious, his iron will have pushed him get off his ass and find the others. He did not know who the hell pushed through the window. No way it could be a zombie. No way. It had to be someone who was alive. The impact of the fall seems to rock his senses. He thought he was going right when he discovered he was going left. He thought he was going left when he was going right. Which way is up? Which way is down? He shook his head violently, trying to regain his senses. He needs to get himself together. Find the others. And get the hell out of here. The walking part was much harder as was trying to find his way through the chaotic school. He should be lying down in a bed. But he knew there was no time to lying on a bed. Not when the school was overwhelmed with zombies. Not when he saved some of the people he cares about. Mr. Uzumaki. We're over here. Just come to this direction. Someone was calling out for him. But who? It took a moment. He realizes that it was Rei Miyamoto calling out to him. But from where? Focus her voice to where it comes from. Naruto struggles to focus his vision. It was becoming fuzzy from his fall, but it was getting better every minute. When his vision finally becomes better, he was just in time to seize the school bus driving away, straight out of the school parking lot. It took a moment for Naruto realized to his horror that they has left him behind. Hey! He finally shouted, too late since they were already gone. Wait. He was alone. Alone in the school. This school of zombies. Naruto knew has to get out of here. He was in no shape to fight. Several minutes later, Naruto was walking through the streets of chaos and death. He was slowly regaining his strength now, yet his body was still wrecked with injuries. He had been walking for quite a while now. But he needs to get to the apartment. He still has his combat knife, yet he lost his gun when someone pushed him. But there were things he needed to survive: guns, water, food, and survival gear. While hiding in the shadows, avoiding the dead, Naruto tried to make sense of why the others left him like that. Did they know he was still alive? Or did they think he's been infected? There must be some reason why he left him like that. But why? He finally reaches his apartment after coursing through several city blocks of death. Once he got in, he closed and locked the door behind him. The first thing he did was treat his injuries. With a first aid kit, Naruto managed to bandage every injury across his body. Yet he also checks carefully that those injuries are not zombie bites. From what he's seen from his personal view of experience, one bite is enough to kill you and turn you into them. Happy that he wasn't bitten, Naruto began gathering what he needed in order to survive. The Sig Sauer P220. The Heckler & Koch VP9. 10 M67 grenades. 5 army combat knives. The M4 carbine. 10 MREs. 10 bottles of fresh water. The supply of first aid kit. And night vision goggles. All that he needed to survive the zombie apocalypse. It was without warning, the phone started to ring. Walking up to the phone, he picked up and responded, "Hello. Naruto, is that you?" A female voice spoke from the other side of line. On the other side of the phone was the voice of Rika Minami. Professional sniper of Special Assault Team, SAT, Japan's version of SWAT team. Not to mention Naruto's ex-girlfriend. Rika, Naruto speaks her name, feeling a deep relief of hearing her for the first time. "It's been a while." "Yeah, it's been a while," Ricky replied through the phone. "I knew you could survive with the chaos go around." "Where are you?" Naruto asked her, hoping she was okay. "I'm at the Tokunosu Offshore International Airport with Tajima," she informed him. "We're supposed to secure the area to allow flights to leave. The airport is mainly only filled with either VIPs of the area or maintenance workers. There is also a partial infection of them on the island, despite the airport being an island. It is believed that someone among the families had been infected when arriving." "And idea what the hell is going on?" Naruto asked. "This morning it was okay and bang it's a zombie apocalypse." "I don't know," she says. "All I know it's happening across the whole world. Nobody knows how it has started, but everything is going straight to hell." There was silence between them when Rika asked Naruto, "Is Shizuka with you?" It's been a while since they had escaped the school. Not to mention being forced to leave Naruto behind. There is a scent of guilt and grief in the air. The guilt and grief of being forced to leave behind Fujimi Academy's friendly guidance counselor, Naruto Uzumaki. "Shizuka, are you okay?" Kyoko asked with concern in her tone. She watched Shizuka cry her heart out over that fact that they had to leave Naruto behind. She calmed down, yet Kyoko could tell she was still upset. She knew that Shizuka really cared about Naruto more than her. "I'm fine, Kyoko," Shizuka replies, while driving, eyes still gazed on the streets. "If you want," Kyoko tries to start a conversation with her. "Will you leave me alone?" Shizuka retorted in anger. "I don't feel like talking, okay?" Kyoko never seen Shizuka snapped at her like that. She had never seen Shizuka so angry before. Perhaps she was mad at herself and the others for deserting Naruto at the school. Kyoko couldn't blame her for beginning to get angry. In fact, Kyoko was also angry with herself as well. She should have said something. She should have said something to prevent Naruto from being left behind. Naruto saved her life. If it wasn't for him, she would have been dead or worse. Yet based upon Shido Koichi's claims, he and some students that were with him says that they have witnessed Naruto being bitten, destined to turn into a zombie. Yet that was what Shido Koichi says. Kyoko couldn't help but give the man a cold gaze from the distance. She knew that there had been bad blood between Naruto and Shido Koichi. She suspected that Shido was lying about Naruto being bitten. Yet she could not prove he was lying since a couple of students backed him up. "Why do we have to be with you guys?" A voice from the back spoke up in a loud tone. It was Tsunoda, the one from Shido's group, who claimed to see Naruto been bitten. "You all decided on where to go without telling us." Tsunoda raised his voice in an aggressive tone. "Tsunoda, sit down." Kyoko ordered, using her teacher authority and discipline. "This is not the time." "Tsunoda is right, you know," another member of Shido's group, Kurakami, added, "We're only putting ourselves in more danger by driving this way, we should stop somewhere." Kyoko looked outside the window, seeing a helicopter fly by with people or zombies. They couldn't see it from where they were sitting trying to get into the helicopter. One of them lost their grip and plummeted to the ground. Kyoko looked like she was going to throw up. She noticed Shizuka didn't seem affected by this or anything around her. She was emotionally and physically focused. Really focused iron will. Yet the constant nagging and nagging around her will must be boiling her up from within. "Can't you drive any slower?" "I almost." Shizuka suddenly stopped, stepped on the brake of the bus and went to the side of the road. Unbuckling her seatbelt, Shizuka angrily turns around and yelled, "That's enough. I am not in the mood of your fucking nagging. Lay off of me or I'll throw you all out." Everyone was shocked by Shizuka's behavior. This was not the kind mood they would see in her. It was obvious she had enough of them disrespecting her. Kyoko decided to step in to defend Shizuka when Tsunoda turned his attention to Takashi and snapped, "What's with you? What the fuck are you looking at?" Takashi looked both confused and slightly aggravated at Tsunoda. Siko steps in, asked, "Is there a problem?" "Yeah, I just don't like him." Tsunoda barked. "Tsunoda, sit down." Kyoko demanded. "Why is your problem?" "I don't even know you," Takashi said as stood up to face Tsunoda. Everyone sensed that there is going to be a serious fighting on the bus. Kota looked ready to jump in at any moment, but Saya brought her arm in front of him, making him put down his arm, but kept an eye out just in case. Just as something was about to happen, it was without warning, Rei, armed with a broomstick with a broken nail at the end forming sharp edge, struck Tsunoda at the side. Takashi was surprised that Rei steps in to help him. It was when Shido's voice speaks up. Brilliant teamwork, Rei and Takashi, Shido assumed his words' predatory grin. But I'm afraid that it won't be enough to keep this group under control. Sooner or later, it's going fall apart. What this group needs are leadership. Shido continued. Leadership to keep everything together. A leader that makes tough decisions for everyone. Let me guess, Saya speaks up. You think you're the perfect for the job. Indeed, I am, says Shido. I am a teacher of Fujimi Academy and perfectly qualified. Excuse me Shido, Kyoko protested. But you're not the only teacher on this bus. How do you know I'm not qualified for leadership? I had certain leadership skills that can be a benefit for our survival. What the students here really need Kyoko is a role model to look up to, Shido stated. A role model to be inspired. A role model to be motivated. And you certainly do not fit the profile as a perfect role model. What is that supposed to mean? Kyoko snapped. Before Shido was about to say something, Rei suddenly jumped out of the bed in pure anger. Rei, what you are doing? Takashi calls out to her. Rei, come back to bus. Kyoko shouted. It's not safe out here on foot. I'm leaving. Rei declared, putting her foot down. There's no way in hell am I ever going to stay with that bastard. Especially after he forced us to leave Mr. Uzumaki behind. I guess there's no changing her mind, she's a lost cause. Shido said. This causes both Takashi and Kyoko to stare at Shido with disgust. Takashi follows Rei while Kyoko demanded Shido, what the hell is your problem? We can leave her out there like that. As teachers we. Kyoko didn't have time to finish her words. Takashi saw another bus coming straight at them. In an instant he jumped out of the bus and tackled Rei out of the way, making him grunt when he landed in an awkward position. Shizuka also saw the bus and moved it out of the way. The other bus crashed at the entrance, blocking both Takashi and Rei from the rest of the group. Due to the JSDF being scattered and disorganized, the government of Japan rely upon local law enforcement departments across Japan to help maintain order and to surpass the zombie horde. For example, Rika and her SAT team has been ordered to the Tokunosu Offshore International Airport to secure the area to allow flights to leave. The airport is primarily occupied with either VIPs of the area or maintenance workers. There is also a limited infection of zombies on the island, despite the airport being an island. However, somebody amongst the passengers had been infected when arriving, result of all hell breaking loose. With sniper rifle in hand, Rika been taking out any zombie she caught in her scope. However, Rika spends most of the day on her belly sniping them off the runway to clear flights. She spends so much time on her stomach that her breasts begin feeling numb. After taking out an undead actor, hitting him right between the eyes splitting its glasses in half, she exhaled as she stood up to stretch her muscles. She then began to massage her breasts from under her vest. What are you doing? Asked her SAT partner, Tajima. If you want, I could massage them for you. Tajima replied, hopefully. Rika smiled at him while she stripped her vest and jacket off, leaving her in just a white sports bra before she challenged him. If you can shoot better than me, then sure I'll let you touch them. Tajima sighed in defeat and said you're right. You are in the top 5 best shooters in the nation. My rank is what? 15. And I guess you're not touching them. Rika teases. Besides I've been in the same spot for months and the best shooter hasn't moved from that spot in 10 years. Really? Tajima responded. Well, I know only one guy in Japan who is also in the top given his rank ahead of you. Beginning a flashback. What do you mean she left you behind? Rika asked Naruto from the other side of the line with a shocked tone in her voice. It's how it was Rika, Naruto begins to explain. The moment I left the school I heard someone calling out to me. The next moment I saw a school bus racing out of the parking lot and spot whoever driving was Shizuka. Rika refused to believe that. She refused to believe Shizuka would do something like that. Come on Naruto, Rika tries to convince him. Do you want me to believe that Shizuka would do that to you? You know Shizuka. You know she wouldn't do something that. Shizuka may not know it, but Rika was aware the school nurse had the hots for Naruto. She would always spot her looking at Naruto when he's not know it. Rika knew that Shizuka wants Naruto. Then again, what to say about her? Naruto was quiet on the other side of the line until he said I guess you're right Rika. Something must have happened on that bus that gave her a false reason to leave me behind. The question is where they might be going. I had a good idea where Shizuka might be heading, Rika replied. She might be on her way to my apartment. I got lots supplies of food, medical aid, and weapons gathered there. Good, Naruto replied. If that is where Shizuka leading the others then I'll be heading there now. Yet with so much chaos in the city it's going to take a while. How about you? I'm still held up here in the airport, Rika told him. Once JSDF arrives I'll head into town and look for you and Shizuka. Okay then Rika, Naruto says as he gets ready to hang up. Just watch your back out there. Naruto waits. Rika suddenly calls out. What is it Rika? Naruto responded. Rika tried to say something that was important in my mind, but instead take care of yourself out there too. You know I will. Naruto says before he hangs up. End of flashback. Rika lied. She wanted to tell Naruto that if the two were meeting again, they might have time for the two could talk. Talk about getting back together. The two had been broken up in last several years. And there was a big reason. The reason was that Naruto was suffering from post-traumatic stress. He has been having bad episodes with it and they're become so bad, he officially broke up with Rika. Naruto was afraid of hurting Rika if he had another episode and felt it would be best if the two kept a few distance from each other for her own safety. Rika wanted to tell Naruto that was just all bullshit. She was a big girl who knew how to take care of herself. Yet Naruto insisted they split up, too frightened over the fear that one day he'll accidentally wake up and end up hurting her if they shared the same bed. You're right, Rika agreed. Naruto is a rank ahead of me. He can shoot better than me. Do you hear from him? Tajima asked his partner. Your ex-boyfriend. I did call him, Rika replied. He's doing okay. I guess a high school guidance counselor didn't trust his skills as an ex-member of the Special Forces group, Tajima remarked. According to some guys from the Special Forces group, Naruto is an absolute beast on the field. He has a point on that. Naruto was one of the best soldiers from the Special Forces group in the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. From what she heard. It was rumored that Naruto came from a secretive ninja clan that existed in the shadowy of Japan's communities before he joined the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. He has climbed his way into the elites, joining the Special Forces group. He has a unique ability of absorbing everything he come in contact, such as guerrilla tactics and techniques from US Army Green Berets 1st SFG during a joint exercise. Naruto was so good he was known as the Yellow Flash. He was the beast in everything, with guns, with knives, with his bare hands. Trained to ignore pain, ignore weather, to live off the land, to eat things that'll make a billy goat puke. His job was to dispose of enemy personnel to kill, win by attrition. Naruto Uzumaki, retired or not, was the best. Naruto Uzumaki walked through the deserted streets, weapon ready, eye vigilantly scanning for any fast or suspicious movement. He had left his apartment after calling Rika and was making his way to her apartment where he was sure Shizuka and the others were located. However, with so much chaos in the street, Naruto knew he will not make it to Rika's apartment. It was getting dark pretty soon. The streets were heavily jammed and packed, not to mention crawling zombies. Hundreds, maybe thousands of them. All Naruto could do was hiding the shadows, carefully of not begin seen by the Walking Dead. The blonde had been walking for quite a while now. He didn't know where to go, but he knew he had to find a safe place where none of those things were around. The dead had claimed this place now, the streets were stained with blood, but Naruto didn't pay much notice to it. The blonde walked with no life in his eyes, they were dull, it was like something inside him had just died. The pain was still fresh, it wasn't his arm, it was Shizuka leaving him. The scene kept playing inside his head, Naruto tried to make sense of it, but no matter what he kept thinking the worse. That hurt him more than his current wound. Naruto stopped when he noticed a group of zombies up ahead. Naruto wanted to avoid a fight as he wants to be carefully of not wasting any bullets and there were too many to fight in melee combat despite being a skilled fighter. Being smarter is more important than being reckless if he wants to survive. He turns towards an intersection he crossed until he reached an empty street. He sighed before looking at the sky. Naruto still cannot believe this was happening. This was not supposed to be real, but it is. All of this caused him recall watching a classic horror movie several years ago, Night of the Living Dead. Or was it Dawn of the Dead? He can't tell. All recall is watching a zombie movie. He hadn't paid much attention to the movie, but he did remember how the dead behaved. They were slow and mindless cannibals who eating humans, inappropriately that was all he knew as he hadn't watched much of the movie. It made him sick. His stomach couldn't last to the end of the film. As a soldier, he has seen horror and gory in war. But this is something he never thought to see in a lifetime. I need to keep it together, he says to himself. Keep it together until I find Shizuka, Kyoko, and the others. And even Rika. It's not like he was worried about Rika. Naruto knows Rika can take care of herself. She was one of the snipers in Japan, better than him. In truth, Rikia purposely lost just to give him chance to let her touch her breasts or sleep with him. It was when the two of them came a couple when they decided to move in together. But they broke up when Naruto was suffering post-traumatic stress disorder. Naruto did it for the sake of them as the last thing he wanted was to accidentally wake up and hurting Rika who was sleeping with him. Still, it really hurt break up with her, yet it was better than hurting her. It was when Naruto comes to realize that he forgotten to tell Rika that he has slept with Shizuka last night. Shizuka was Rika's best friend and roommate. Naruto wanted to blame the alcohol for getting him honey or Shizuka for her buxom curves, but that was just an excuse. He should have known better than to sleep with Rika's friend. The two were very close. Walking to the sidewalk, Naruto thought he heard a noise. Getting close to the source, with his guns ready, he came to an alley where he heard shouting. He peeked his head and saw 6 men ganging up on a helpless woman. "Hey sweetheart, what's a hot I like you doing wandering the streets alone?" said first guy, with a sick grin he eyed the woman. The woman who had long pink hair cowered in fear, she crawled and huddled to the wall very terrified of the 2 men in front of her. "Yeah, don't you know it's dangerous to be alone out here," the second guy said as he licked his lips at the woman like she was a piece of meat. Please I," she cried out as she hides her face from the 2 men, clearly terrified of them. "Don't hurt me. My daughter, my husband." The woman's words were cut off when the first man grabbed her by the wrist, raising her arm. "Well, look at those boys," first man said before looking at his friends, motioning to her chest. "She has some nice tits." "Yeah," the third man agreed. "As perfect as Mount Fuji." It was when the third man noticed something on the side of her stomach and tries to utter some words. "Hey guys. Look." In that moment Naruto finally made his move. Leaving his hiding place, he aimed his gun and selected some targets in sight. 6 targets. 6 bullets. Gunfire erupted into the air. And a moment later all 6 bodies fell to the ground dead. Naruto knew that men were going to rape the lone woman. He could threaten them, leave the woman alone with gun in hands as they were unarmed. However, his instincts warned him that the men would try to use the woman as a hostage against him. So, the logical choice was to surprise and kill them before they knew he was here. Walking up to the pink-haired woman, Naruto asked, "Are you okay?" The pink-haired woman looks to be in her mid-40s. Yet was youthful enough to be somewhere between her late 20s and early 30s. Not to mention she was very lovely with pink hair and purple eyes. She has a shapely figure with attractive curves, such as huge breasts. "Just go." The pink-haired woman says, her eyes revealed that she's dead inside. "There is nothing you could do for me." Naruto gave the woman a dumbstruck look and retort, "What the hell are you talking about? You think I'm just going to leave you here to die?" Before the woman could say something, Naruto picked her up in his arms and began carry, bride style. "Just let me go." The pink-haired woman tries to resist. "Just leave me here. Stop again like you're a knight in shining armor. Your husband and daughter." He'd reminded her. "I overheard you mention about them. Are they dead?" The pink-haired woman was quickly surprised when he says, yet reply, "No, they are not dead." "Where are they?" he asked them. "I don't know. They're somewhere lost in the city," she told him. "Then I suggested you don't give up," Naruto says. "You need cling to hope that you'll find your husband and daughter alive." "No, you don't understand," the pink-haired woman tries to say something. "I don't want to hear it," Naruto cuts her off. "Your husband and daughter need you, no matter what. So, I suggested you shut up and do as I say if you want to see them again. Now what is your name?" The pink-haired woman hesitated for a moment until she replies, "Ayana Marisato." "Where are we going?" "Right there," Naruto pointed out. He was looking at a small building that looked like a bar. They can hide and rest there for the whole night. There were no other alternatives. Reaching the bar, he readies his gun and took one quick look inside to see if it was safe before entering the place. He and Ayana entered the bar and he shut the door behind him with his foot. Naruto quickly seated the pink-haired woman on top of the bar's counter and then grabbed a few chairs and tables to barricade the front door. "Are you hungry?" he asked the woman. "I'll see if this place." "Why are you doing this?" Ayana retorted. "All you have to do is just leave me. That's it." Naruto stared at her for a moment until he finally said, "Why are you so in a hurry to die? Don't you care about your husband and daughter? Don't you want to see them again?" "I do care about my husband and daughter," Ayana snapped. "I do want to see them again. But what good will it do?" She shows him the side of her stomach. Naruto's eyes reacted in shock of what he was seeing. This woman had been bitten. "I'm already dead," Ayana concluded. Ayana looked at Naruto, her eyes pleading. She was scared, terrified of what was to come. The virus would soon take over her body, turning her into a mindless monster. She couldn't bear the thought of her family seeing her like that. Naruto took a deep breath, trying to steel himself for what he had to do. He had always been a protector, a fighter. But this was different. This was someone he cared about, someone who didn't deserve this fate. "I don't know if I can do it," Naruto whispered, his voice barely audible. "There has got to be another way." Ayana's eyes softened, understanding the turmoil within Naruto. She reached out and took his hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. "I know it's hard, but you have to do this," Ayana said softly. "I don't want to become a threat to anyone. Please do it for me." Naruto closed his eyes, trying to push down the wave of emotions threatening to overwhelm him. He took a deep breath and finally nodded, steeling his resolve. "I'll do it," Naruto said, his voice firm. "But I want you to know that I'm sorry. I wish there was another way." "Wait," Ayana quickly stopped him as she took something out of her pocket. It was a picture. A picture of Ayana, along with her husband and daughter. "This is my husband and daughter," she says. "If you see them, tell them I always loved them." please do that for me. Deeply touched by this woman's words, Naruto replied, I promised. Ayana nodded, tears streaming down her face. She knew there was no other choice. She closed her eyes, waiting for the inevitable. Naruto raised his blade, his heart heavy with sorrow. With one swift motion, he ended Ayana's suffering, putting an end to her transformation into a zombie. As he stood there, the weight of what he had done settled on his shoulders. Ayana's lifeless body lay at his feet, a stark reminder of the cruel reality they were living in. He knew he had done the right thing, but it didn't make it any easier. The world they lived in was unforgiving and ruthless. Survival meant making tough choices, even if it meant sacrificing a friend. Naruto wiped away his tears, steeling himself for the battles that lay ahead. He would honor Ayana's memory by fighting for a world where no one had to suffer the same fate. And as he walked away, leaving behind the lifeless body of the woman, he whispered a promise to himself. I won't forget you, Ayana, Naruto says sadly. And I will make sure this picture gets to your family. Rest in peace. Beginning of the dream. Shizuka Marikawa, the curvaceous blonde nurse, found herself in a terrifying dream. In this nightmare, the world was coming to an end as the dead rose from their graves, turning into flesh-eating zombies. She saw herself trying to fight off hordes of undead creatures, desperately running for her life. She felt a sense of overwhelming fear and helplessness as she saw her loved ones being devoured by the zombies. One of the people she saw in her nightmare was Naruto Uzumaki, a young man who she had developed feelings for. She had tried to save him from being turned into a zombie, but she ultimately failed. The guilt of not being able to protect him haunted her, and she woke up with tears streaming down her face. As she opened her eyes, Shizuka found herself lying in a strange bed, completely naked. She looked around in confusion and saw Naruto lying next to her, also naked. Panic set in as she realized that they were not alone. Kyoko Hayashi was also in the bed with them, also naked. Shizuka's heart raced as she tried to piece together what had happened. Naruto stirred awake and looked at Shizuka with concern. Shizuka, what's wrong? He asked, his blue eyes filled with worry. Shizuka couldn't believe her eyes as she saw Naruto alive and well. She threw herself into his arms, tears of relief streaming down her face. Naruto, I had the most horrible nightmare, she sobbed. Naruto held her close, trying to comfort her. Tell me about it, Shizuka. I'm here for you, he said softly. Shizuka took a deep breath and recounted her nightmare to Naruto. She described the chaos and destruction she had witnessed in her dream, the terrifying events that had unfolded before her eyes. As she reached the part about Naruto turning into a zombie, Shizuka couldn't control her emotions. She kissed him passionately, pouring out her feelings for him. I love you, Naruto. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, she whispered, her voice filled with longing. Naruto was taken aback by her confession. He had been through a rough breakup with Rika Minami, and he had closed himself off from close relationships ever since. But looking into Shizuka's tear-filled eyes, he felt a warmth in his heart that he couldn't ignore. I know, Shizuka, Naruto said, his voice soft but resolute. Before he could say anything more, a chilling sensation ran down Shizuka's spine. She felt a cold hand grab her shoulder, and she turned to see Kyoko standing behind her, her eyes vacant and lifeless. In a flash, Kyoko's features contorted into a grotesque grimace as she transformed into a zombie. Shizuka's heart raced as she realized that Naruto was also undergoing the same transformation. The two of them overpowered Shizuka, pinning her down on the bed. As Naruto and Kyoko leaned in to bite into her flesh, Shizuka screamed in terror. She felt their teeth sinking into her skin, their cold hands tearing at her flesh. The pain was unbearable, and Shizuka knew that she was about to meet her end. End of the dream. Just as she was about to succumb to the darkness, Shizuka's eyes snapped was no longer in the. She found herself in the driver's seat of a school bus, her hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. Breathing heavily, Shizuka looked around and saw some of the students and teachers were still on the bus, realized that she had fallen asleep at the wheel, drifting off into a terrifying now, she was back in reality, safe and sound. Shizuka gripped the steering wheel tightly as she maneuvered the school bus through the abandoned and zombie-infected streets of Tokunosu City. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and her hazel eyes scanned the road ahead, looking out for any signs of danger. After Rei Miyamoto and Takashi Kimuro left the bus to another course, Shizuka tries to go to their rendezvous point but is stuck in heavy traffic. While they are waiting. While waiting, Shizuka felt a knot form in the pit of her stomach. She couldn't shake the memory of Naruto Uzumaki, whom they had been forced to leave behind at Fujimi High School. She knew he had been bitten by one of the zombies, a fact confirmed by Koichi Shido and his group of students. But something didn't sit right with Shizuka. Every time she looked at Shido, she felt a deep resentment and hatred towards him. She knew he despised Naruto and likely lied about his bite. While she lacked concrete evidence, she could sense Shido's dark intentions and knew she wouldn't be safe if left alone with him. She couldn't help but wonder if Naruto was still alive somewhere out there, fighting to guilt weighed heavily on her shoulders, knowing they had left him behind to fend for himself. Ayako Hayashi glanced over at Shizuka, her expression sympathetic. I know you're worried about Naruto, but we had no choice. We couldn't risk putting ourselves in danger for one person. Shizuka nodded, but her heart ached at the thought of Naruto facing the hordes of the undead alone. She knew he had been a valuable member of their group, his quick thinking and skills in combat proving invaluable in their fight for survival. As they waited in the traffic jam, Shido approached Shizuka, a sly smile playing on his lips. Don't worry, my dear. We'll find a way to rescue your friend Naruto. But first, we must focus on getting to safety ourselves. Shizuka's gut twisted at Shido's words, his honeyed tone sending a shiver down her spine. She knew he was up to something, and she couldn't shake the feeling of impending danger. Suddenly, Siko Busujima and Saya Takagi approached her from behind. Their expressions were grave as they exchanged glances before stepping closer to Shizuka. We need to talk, Siko said firmly, her voice steady despite the chaos outside. Shizuka nodded, pulling over to a safer area where they could speak privately. Kyoko Hayashi joined them shortly after, sensing the urgency in their demeanor. What's going on? Shizuka asked. Saya took a deep breath before speaking. We've been discussing our options. We can't stay here any longer with Shido. He's becoming more deranged by the day. Siko added, the way he treats everyone is unacceptable. It's like he's trying to create his own little cult. Shizuka felt a surge of agreement wash over her. She had long harbored resentment towards Shido for forcing them into situations that endangered their lives and well-being. I'm with you, she declared passionately. I can't stand him either. Ayako nodded in solidarity. We need to leave this place while we still can. The group devised a plan to confront Shido about their intentions to leave Tokunosu City behind for good, an act that would surely provoke his wrath but was necessary for their survival. When they finally approached Shido in the makeshift camp where he held court over his followers, tension crackled in the air like static electricity. Shido, Saya began cautiously, we need to talk. What is it? He replied coolly, eyeing them with suspicion. We're leaving, Siko stated boldly. Shido's expression darkened instantly. He leaned back in his chair with an air of arrogance that made Shizuka's skin crawl. You think you can just walk away? You're not going anywhere without my permission. Why should we listen to you? Kyoko shot back defiantly. Because, he sneered, pointing at Shizuka with an accusatory finger, she has medical expertise that my students will need if they are going to survive. Without warning, Kota pulled out his nail gun and fired off a shot that grazed Shido's left cheek, a warning shot that sent shockwaves through everyone present. Are you trying to kill me? Shido cried out in shock. You've always made fun of me. Kota shouted angrily. I've held back my anger for too long because I wanted some semblance of normalcy. But now that normal life doesn't matter anymore. I have no problem killing someone who deserves it like you. The atmosphere shifted dramatically. Fear replaced arrogance as Shido and his students watched in disbelief at Kota's boldness against Shido. Rei Miyamoto and Takashi Kimura walked cautiously through the dark, zombie-infested streets of Tokunosu City. The once bustling city now lay in ruins, with the undead roaming the streets looking for their next meal. The two survivors knew they had to be careful not to attract any unwanted attention, whether it be from the walking dead or the few remaining living souls who had resorted to violence in order to survive. Just an hour ago, Rei had found herself in a dangerous situation. A big gangster wannabe had surprised her and taken her hostage, threatening to kill her if Takashi didn't come to her rescue. Rei's heart raced as the man violently groped her breasts, his cruel laughter echoing in her ears. In an instant, Takashi was by her side, his gun drawn and pointed directly at the thug's head. Without hesitation, he pulled the trigger, the sound of the gunshot ringing in Rei's ears as the man fell wounded to the ground. Rei clung to Takashi, grateful for his swift action that had saved her from a gruesome fate. They left the man alive, who was begging for their help before he was devoured by the hungry zombies who had been drawn to the sound of the gunshot, their moans filling the air as they feasted on their latest victim. As they continued on their journey through the desolate city, they witnessed a horrifying sight. Men were in the streets, slaughtering other people without mercy. Takashi's jaw clenched in anger as he surveyed the scene before him. It's like a battlefield out here, he remarked grimly. Rei's eyes widened in shock. I've never seen anything so brutal, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sounds of chaos around them. They tried to drive past the scene, hoping to avoid any confrontation with the violent men. But a few of the men noticed them, and one raised a shotgun, taking aim at the motorcycle. The deafening sound of the gunshot filled the air as the bullet whizzed past them, narrowly missing them but grazing the back of the motorcycle. Rei screamed in fear, clinging to Takashi as he swerved to avoid any further shots. Keep your head down, Rei, Takashi shouted over the roar of the engine, his eyes scanning the streets for an escape route. They could hear the men shouting and giving chase behind them, their bloodlust driving them to pursue their prey. Suddenly, Takashi spotted a narrow alleyway up ahead and made a split-second decision to turn into it. The motorcycle roared down the narrow passage, the sound of their pursuers fading behind them as they navigated through the maze of debris and rubble. Finally, they emerged onto a quieter street, the sounds of chaos left behind. Rei let out a shaky breath, her heart still pounding in her chest. Takashi pulled the motorcycle to a stop, turning to look at Rei with concern in his eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked softly, reaching out to brush a stray strand of hair from her face. Rei nodded, her eyes filled with gratitude for the man who had once again saved her life. "Thank you, Takashi," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. Takashi smiled at her, his eyes reflecting the bond that had grown between them in the face of such adversity. "We'll make it through this, Rei," he said confidently, his hand squeezing hers in a gesture of. They set off once again into the unknown, their hearts filled with hope for a brighter future in a world overrun by the undead. The duo moved stealthily, avoiding any unnecessary noise that could attract unwanted attention. They had learned from past encounters that even the slightest sound could draw a horde of zombies or trigger hostility from other living beings. As they turned a corner, Rei whispered to Takashi about their next move. "We need to find an alternative route to reach Rika Minami's house," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Takashi nodded in agreement but frowned as he surveyed the scene ahead. Several bridges that would have provided a quick passage were blocked by debris and abandoned vehicles, remnants of chaos left behind during the initial outbreak. "Looks like we're going to have to improvise," he replied, scanning for any possible paths. Suddenly, distant sounds of conflict reached their ears, shouts mixed with the guttural growls of zombies, engaged in some form of struggle. Curiosity piqued, they decided to investigate cautiously. Moving towards the source of the noise, they stumbled upon a ramp leading down into an alleyway. "Do you think we can jump it?" Rei asked, eyeing the distance skeptically. "We don't have much choice," Takashi replied with determination. "On three." With synchronized precision, they counted together and leaped off the ramp, landing safely on the other side. As they regained their footing and composure, they found themselves at an open area where their friends had gathered, a small group consisting of Seiko Busujima, Saya Takagi, Kota Hirano, Kyoko Hayashi, and Shizuka Marikawa. "Rei." "Takashi." Seiko called out with relief evident in her voice as she rushed over to embrace them briefly before stepping back to assess their condition. "What happened?" Takashi asked as he looked around at his friends' weary faces. "We ditched Shido and his students," Shizuka explained with a hint of defiance in her tone. "They were slowing us down too much." "Good call," Rei said appreciatively. "What's our plan now?" Shizuka's eyes lit up with hope as she spoke about Rika Minami's house, a safe haven where they could rest for the night. However, doubt clouded some faces in the group when Naruto Uzumaki's name came up. He was supposed to meet them there but hadn't arrived yet. "I'm not sure if Naruto is still alive," Saya voiced hesitantly. "He has to be," Shizuka insisted passionately. "He's too strong to go down without a fight." Kota chimed in supportively. "I agree with Shizuka. Naruto was one of Japan's best soldiers. If anyone can survive this hellscape, it's him." "Where the hell could you get so much information about Mr. Uzumaki?" began a former soldier of Special Forces Group. Saya questioned Kota. "Well," Kota began to explain. "I went on a month-long trip to America where I was trained by the US military contractor Blackwater in the United States, which furthered my obsession over weapons. We got along very well and talked about our previous background at home. When I mentioned Mr. Uzumaki's name, he was kind surprised as he knew Mr. Uzumaki personally, who was part of the Special Forces Group. He wouldn't press any information about, suggested that Mr. Uzumaki was a private man." Rei and Takashi exchanged incredulous looks. It was hard for them to reconcile their memories of Naruto Uzumaki, their kind-hearted guidance counselor, with his past as a soldier. "I talk with him a lot," said Takashi. "But he never mentions anything about being a soldier." "Neither I," Rei replied. "I wonder why he kept it a secret." Seiko spoke up thoughtfully. "Naruto is a private man. He has demons he doesn't share with anyone." Her gaze drifted off into the distance as if recalling something painful. "Maybe that's why he never told us," Seiko concluded. As they moved cautiously down a narrow street littered with debris and remnants of a once thriving community, Alice's small hand is enveloped in her father's strong grip. She can feel his tension. He frequently glances over his shoulder, scanning for any signs of danger, be it the undead or other survivors who might not have their best interests at heart. Alice's innocent mind races with thoughts. She wonders if her father is worried about zombies or perhaps bad people who could hurt them. "Daddy," she whispers, her voice trembling slightly. "Are we going to find mommy?" Kenji's expression softens momentarily as he kneels down to meet her gaze. "We will find her, Alice. I promise." His voice is firm but laced with an undercurrent of fear that he tries to mask for his daughter's sake. Their journey takes them deeper into the city where the streets become increasingly treacherous. They encounter sporadic groups of zombies moaning softly while others lunge forward with surprising speed. Kenji expertly maneuvers around them, using whatever obstacles he can find to shield Alice from view. Suddenly, they find themselves cornered in an alleyway by a larger group of zombies that seem to emerge from every direction. Panic surges through Kenji as he realizes there's no way out without risking Alice's safety. This way. He shouts urgently as he pulls her toward a nearby bookstore, a seemingly safe haven amidst the chaos. Inside the dimly lit store, dust motes dance in the air as they rush toward the back room, where shelves filled with books stand like sentinels against the encroaching darkness outside. As they catch their breath, Kenji scans their surroundings for any potential threats. It is then that they come face to face with another survivor, a 27-year-old man whose striking blue eyes and spiky blonde hair give him an almost ethereal appearance amidst the grim reality surrounding them. He bears an arsenal of weapons strapped across his body and looks equally startled upon seeing them. "Who are you?" Kenji demands defensively, positioning himself protectively in front of Alice. The man raises his hands in surrender but maintains a steady gaze on both father and daughter. "I mean you no harm," he assures them quickly. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm a friend of Aona Marisato." Alice's heart skips a beat at hearing her mother's name spoken aloud by this stranger. She looks up at her father, who seems equally taken aback yet intrigued by this revelation. "Where is she?" Kenji asks urgently, desperation creeping into his tone. Before Naruto can respond, the distant moans of zombies echo through the streets. A horde emerges from an alleyway, grotesque figures stumbling towards them with insatiable hunger in their eyes. "We need to move," Naruto shouts urgently. He gestures for Alice and Kenji to follow him as they sprint down the street, adrenaline fueling their escape. The trio races through the chaotic landscape until they spot refuge in a nearby shopping mall, a fortress against the undead outside. As they enter, the heavy glass doors slam shut behind them with an ominous thud. Inside, shelves are overturned and remnants of consumerism lie scattered across the floor. Suddenly, a zombified security guard lurches toward Alice with outstretched arms. In an instant reaction honed by his training in Japan's Special Forces Group, Naruto draws his weapon and fires his aim true as he shoots the zombie squarely in the head. The creature collapses lifelessly at Alice's feet. "Here," Naruto says as he hands Kenji a gun from his tactical gear. However, Kenji recoils at the sight of it. I have hoplophobia," he stammers, the fear of firearms gripping him tighter than any zombie could. Understanding yet frustrated by Kenji's phobia in such dire circumstances, Naruto nods solemnly but knows they must press on. "Let's explore," he suggests as they begin to navigate through the dimly lit corridors of the mall. "But stay close and do as I say if you want to live." As they cautiously traverse the abandoned mall, Alice clutches her backpack tightly. Her small voice breaks the silence. "Where's my mom? Aona, where is she?" Each time she asks, Naruto feels a pang of guilt. He knows that this situation is dire and that they must focus on survival rather than dwelling on lost loved ones. "We need to stay alert," he replies firmly but gently. "It's not safe here. We have to find a way out." The mall is eerily quiet except for the occasional creaks and groans of the building settling. As they explore further into its depths, they come across a flickering television screen in one of the stores. The news report displays grim images of chaos zombie outbreaks spreading across cities worldwide. Kenji watches intently, his face pale as he processes the information. "Should we stay here for the night?" he suggests hesitantly. Before Naruto can respond, a loud crash echoes through the mall, the unmistakable sound of zombies breaking in. Their guttural moans grow louder as they approach. "No time for that. We need to leave now," Naruto commands decisively. The trio rushes through the aisles filled with debris and shattered glass while dodging zombies that lurch toward them with outstretched arms. Utilizing his special forces training, Naruto expertly dispatches any undead that blocks their path, using only knives, silent yet effective weapons that prevent drawing more attention from other zombies lurking nearby. "Keep moving," he urges as they navigate through a clothing store where mannequins stand like ghostly sentinels amidst scattered clothes and broken mirrors, reflecting their frantic escape. Kenji helps Alice over obstacles while trying to keep her calm despite her growing anxiety about her mother's whereabouts. "We'll find her," Kenji reassures her, even though uncertainty hangs heavy in his heart. Finally reaching an exit at the back of the mall, they burst into daylight just as a horde of zombies spills into the main area behind them. They sprint down an alleyway lined with crumbling buildings and debris until they reach safety, a small park surrounded by high walls. Panting heavily, Naruto turns to Alice and Kenji. "I know a place where we can be safe," he says with determination shining in his eyes despite their grim circumstances. "Where?" Kenji asks warily. "There's a place that belongs to my ex-girlfriend who was member of SAT," Naruto explains quickly. It's nearby and it will be a good place to stay for the night, to catch our breath. Alice looks up at him with hope mingled with fear in her eyes as she clutches her father's hand tighter. Will we find my mom there? She asks again, desperation creeping into her voice. Naruto kneels down to meet her gaze directly. The last time I spoke to your mom, she asked me to make sure you and your father are safe. And that's what I am going to do. He assures her sincerely before standing up straight again and leading them towards safety. In the streets of Tokanosu City, a once bustling metropolis now shrouded in chaos and despair, Naruto navigated the desolate streets with a sense of purpose. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the distant groans of the undead echoed through the alleyways. Armed with his trusty knife and a limited supply of ammunition, Naruto was determined to protect Kenji Marisato and his young daughter, Alice, as they sought refuge from the relentless hordes of zombies that had overrun their city. As they moved cautiously through the debris-strewn streets, Naruto's military training kicked in. He had honed his close-quarters combat (CQC) skills during his time in the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force, and now those skills were proving invaluable. With swift precision, he dispatched any zombies that crossed their path, each movement calculated and efficient. The blade glinted under the dim streetlights as he slashed through decaying flesh, ensuring that every strike counted while conserving his precious ammunition for emergencies. Kenji watched in awe as Naruto effortlessly eliminated wave after wave of zombies. It wasn't long before recognition dawned on him. "Your former Lieutenant Naruto Namikaze of the Special Forces Group," he exclaimed, his voice tinged with disbelief. "The Japan's war hero from the war in Afghanistan." Naruto paused for a moment but did not turn to face Kenji. "I am that person," he replied tersely, "but I'm no war hero. Just a survivor trying to stay alive." His focus remained unwavering. There was no room for sentimentality in this new world. "How did you know I was a soldier and war hero?" "I was a reporter myself," Kenji told him. "I once covered news years back during the War on Terror." Alice clutched her father's hand tightly, her wide eyes filled with fear and uncertainty. "Where's my mom?" she asked softly, her voice trembling. Naruto's heart sank at her question. He could see the innocence in her gaze, the hope that perhaps her mother was safe somewhere nearby. He hesitated before answering, choosing his words carefully. "Your mother is somewhere safe where the zombies won't get her," he said without looking at her directly. "Right now, my focus is to get you both to safety." "I know a place," Kenji whispered urgently. "A friend's house nearby. We can lay low until morning." His eyes darted around nervously as he recalled memories of safer times before everything fell apart. "We need to keep moving until we reach Rika Minami's place," Naruto insisted. "It's getting dark," Kenji countered. "And it will be more dangerous if we stays in the streets. Plus, we may need some food, since our food supply is limited." Naruto considered this for a moment but felt an urge to keep pushing onward toward Rika Minami's place where he was sure Shizuka Kyoko and the others are safe. However, he understood Kenji's desire for safety, especially for his daughter. "Alright," Naruto finally conceded after weighing their options against time and resources. "Lead the way." With Kenji guiding them through narrow passages and hidden routes, they managed to evade larger groups of zombies. Alice clung tightly to her father's hand, her wide eyes reflecting both fear and trust in Naruto's abilities. The trio moved like phantoms under the cover of darkness until they finally reached Kenji's friend's house, a modest structure that seemed untouched from the outside. However, upon entering, their hopes were dashed. The interior was ransacked. Furniture overturned and belongings strewn about painted a grim picture of what had transpired here. Kenji's heart sank as he surveyed the destruction. This was supposed to be their sanctuary. Suddenly, without warning, they were surrounded by a group of armed men clad in black robes. The glint of weapons caught Naruto's eye as he instinctively positioned himself between Kenji and Alice. Tension crackled in the air as one man stepped forward draped in red robes and addressed Kenji directly. "Ah, Kenji. What took you so long?" he said with an unsettling grin. Kenji's confusion deepened as he stared at this stranger who seemed to know him yet remained unfamiliar. Meanwhile, Alice, who feels intimidated by this man's cruel face, hugs her father tightly for protection. "Who are you?" Kenji demanded cautiously. It was then that Kenji noticed something horrifying, a body lying lifelessly in another room. Recognition hit him like a freight train. It was his friend, the very person whose house they sought refuge in. "Tai!" Kenji cried out in horror before staring at the leader and demanded, "Did you kill him?" "Of course we killed him," the leader sneered. "He's stolen something from us. Something that belongs to the Brotherhood of Rebirth." "Brotherhood of Rebirth?" Naruto repeated, looking confused. Looking at Kenji, he noticed Kenji's shocked look on his face. "You're the Brotherhood of Rebirth?" Kenji reacted in horror. The one Tai was investigating them. "Who are they?" Naruto questioned Kenji. "We are a peaceful religious group," the leader explains. "We preach equality, peace, brotherhood, and love within man, and the hope for a better world." If you are a peaceful religious group, then why are you pointing guns at us? Naruto pointed out. Just then, an ear-piercing shriek echoed from outside, the unmistakable sound of zombies converging on their location. The men exchanged nervous glances as realization dawned upon them that they were no longer safe either. Run! Naruto shouted instinctively as he grabbed Alice's hand while pushing Kenji forward toward an exit at the back of the house. The chaos erupted almost instantaneously. Zombies began breaking through windows and doors as if drawn by some primal instinct for flesh. In that moment of distraction among the armed men who were now caught between two threats, the living and the undead, Naruto seized the opportunity. With unparalleled speed and skill honed from years of training and experience in battle scenarios far more complex than this one, Naruto launched into action. He engaged several armed men with swift strikes while simultaneously guiding Kenji and Alice towards safety. Keep moving. He urged them as he dispatched another attacker with a well-placed kick before turning back to face more incoming zombies that threatened to overwhelm them all. The trio managed to slip out through a side door just as chaos erupted inside. The sounds of gunfire mixed with growls filled their ears as they fled into the night once more. Once outside in the relative safety of darkness, away from immediate danger but still surrounded by lurking threats in every shadowy corner, they took refuge behind an abandoned car parked along the street. We need to find somewhere else, Kenji panted heavily while keeping Alice close against him. Somewhere safer. We are going straight to Rika's place, Naruto said firmly. But first, I need to know more about those men back at that house. Kenji swallowed hard before responding. As I said before, I am a reporter, as included my friend Tai. Tai was investigating something big. He paused, glancing at Alice, who clutched her father's hand tightly. Tai told me about a doomsday cult called the Brotherhood of Rebirth. Naruto raised an eyebrow, intrigued yet concerned. What do you mean? What's their agenda? Kenji took a deep breath as they continued walking cautiously down a narrow alleyway littered with debris. According to Tai's investigations, the Brotherhood is worldwide, millions of followers praying for a day when the world will be reborn into a new Eden. He recalled how fervently Tai had spoken about their activities and how they seemed to be gaining power. 2 weeks ago, Kenji continued, Tai got a tip-off that he was onto something significant regarding the Brotherhood. He left for America to follow up on it. His voice trembled slightly as he remembered the urgency in Tai's tone during their last conversation. What did he say? Naruto pressed on as they ducked behind an overturned car to avoid detection from a nearby group of zombies. He called me last night, Kenji replied hurriedly. He sounded panicked, said that the Brotherhood is insane and trying to kill everyone in the whole world. But he also mentioned he had stolen something they desperately needed back. Naruto's mind raced with questions. He wanted to ask what exactly Tai had stolen and what it meant for them all, but just then, he spotted more zombies shuffling toward them from around the corner. We need to move fast. Naruto urged as he pulled out his weapon and prepared for confrontation. Before. The gunshot was heard, loud enough to cover whole city block and beyond. And in that moment, Kenji Marasato fell dead. Daddy. Alice screamed at the sight of her father's death. More shots were fired at Naruto's direction. Naruto can't yell where the shots were coming from. But he knew standing around, out an opening is not that smart. Grabbing Alice in his arms, he made run for it. Naruto and Alice Marasato navigated through the shadows, their hearts pounding with fear. The once vibrant city was now a haunting landscape filled with remnants of a life that had been abruptly shattered by the zombie apocalypse. The air was thick with tension as they moved cautiously, every sound amplified in the stillness of the night. Alice's eyes wide with terror. The memory of her father's death replayed in her mind like a nightmare she couldn't escape. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she whispered to Naruto, "Why did this happen? Why did Daddy has to die?" Naruto felt a deep pang of guilt wash over him. He had promised himself that he would protect Alice at all costs, yet here they were running for their lives while he failed to save her father. The weight of his own actions pressed heavily on his conscience. He had been forced to take Alice's mother's life just hours earlier when she began to turn into one of those monsters. He couldn't bear to tell Alice what had happened. It would only add to her pain. "Hey," he said softly, trying to comfort her despite his own turmoil. "We're going to be okay. I'm taking you to a friend's place where it's safe." Alice looked up at him with tear-filled eyes, searching for reassurance in his expression. "Where are we going?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Rika's apartment," Naruto replied, forcing a smile despite the dread that loomed over them. He hoped that Takashi, Shizuka, Kyoko, and the others would be there waiting for them, a glimmer of hope in this dark world. As they continued down the street, Naruto noticed a small dog trailing behind them. It was scruffy and dirty, but seemed determined to keep up with their pace. For a moment, he considered stopping to help it. However, his mind was too clouded with thoughts of Alice's grief and his own guilt. Suddenly, their path was blocked by a large mob of zombies shuffling toward them from around the corner, groans echoing through the night air like an ominous warning bell. Panic surged through Naruto as he grabbed Alice's hand tightly. "Run!" he shouted urgently as they dashed toward the nearest house, a dilapidated structure that looked like it hadn't been lived in for years. "Stay close to me, Alice," Naruto whispered, glancing around nervously. Alice nodded, her eyes wide with fear but filled with trust for the brave man beside her. As they turned a corner, they spotted a house with its lights still on. "Maybe we can find shelter there," Naruto said, pointing at the house. They approached carefully, feeling the weight of the night air. Naruto knocked on the door and called out, "Is anyone there? We need help." After a moment, a voice came from inside. "Go away. We don't want any trouble." Naruto frowned, his patience wearing thin. "Please, we're just looking for a safe place to stay. There are zombies out here." The voice responded again, now sharper, "We can't risk letting you in. It's too dangerous." Frustrated, Naruto felt anger bubble inside him. "If you don't let us in, I will shoot the door down," he shouted, raising his gun to show he was serious. Alice's heart raced. Her small hands trembled at Naruto's threat. Suddenly, they heard a bolt click and the door opened slightly. Okay. Come in," the survivor said reluctantly. Naruto sighed with relief and thanked them as he pushed the door open. However, as they stepped inside, a figure lurked in the shadows. In a sudden move, the survivor lunged forward and stabbed Naruto with a sharp knife. "No!" Alice screamed, her voice echoing in the dim room. In shock, Naruto felt the cold pain but quickly turned, heart raced as he raised his gun and fired at the attacker. As the sun began to set, casting an orange hue over the desolate cityscape, Takashi Kimura led his group of survivors through the eerily quiet streets. The once bustling metropolis was now a haunting reminder of what had been lost. Takashi, along with Kyoko Hayashi, Rei Miyamoto, Seiko Busujima, Saya Takagi, Kota Hirano, and Shizuka Murakawa, had faced countless dangers since the outbreak began. Their mission was clear. Reach Rika's apartment and find safety. As they approached Rika's building, a sense of foreboding washed over them. The sight that greeted them was shocking. Dozens of zombies lay sprawled on the ground, lifeless and grotesque. Each one bore a deep stab wound to the skull, indicating a skilled hand at work. Saya squinted at the scene before her and remarked incredulously, "Who could have done this?" Rei scanned their surroundings for any signs of life or danger. "It looks like someone took care of these monsters," she said thoughtfully. "But who? And where are they now?" The group cautiously made their way toward the entrance of the building, stepping over the fallen corpses. A trail of blood caught Kota's attention. It led directly to Rika's apartment door. "This can't be good," he muttered as they followed the crimson path. With hearts pounding in their chests, they reached Rika's door and exchanged nervous glances before Takashi pushed it open. What they found inside was both shocking and heartwarming. A familiar face awaited them. "Naruto!" Shizuka exclaimed as she rushed into the room, her medical instincts kicking in immediately upon seeing him slumped against the wall with a stab wound to his heart. Beside him sat a small girl no older than 7 years old named Alice and a small dog that seemed to be guarding her. Alice looked up with tear-filled eyes and pleaded desperately, "Please help him. He saved us." Shizuka knelt beside Naruto and quickly assessed his condition. Her heart raced as she examined the wound. "Well, serious, it wasn't immediately fatal. He needs medical attention fast," she ordered firmly but calmly. "Kota? Find me some bandages," Shizuka instructed while checking Naruto's pulse, weak but present. Saya moved closer to Alice and asked gently, "What happened here?" Alice sniffled as she recounted how Naruto had fought off hordes of zombies to protect her after he got stabbed. She explained how he had managed to fend off the undead attackers and took her in this apartment before he blacked out to his injuries. Meanwhile, Seiko surveyed their surroundings for anything useful that could aid in treating Naruto's wound. "We need antiseptics and more supplies," she said decisively. Ayako stepped forward with determination in her eyes. "I'll help you look," she said to Seiko as they began rummaging through drawers and cabinets in search of medical supplies. Rei stood guard by the door while Kota searched frantically for anything that could help stabilize Naruto until Shizuka could treat him properly. As time passed slowly amidst their frantic efforts, Shizuka worked diligently on Naruto's wound while reassuring Alice that everything would be alright. The little girl clutched her dog tightly as tears streamed down her cheeks. "Stay with me, Naruto," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "You can't leave me like this." After what felt like an eternity filled with tension and uncertainty, Shizuka finally managed to clean and bandage Naruto's wound, effectively enough to prevent further blood loss. She leaned back on her heels with exhaustion, but relief flooding through her veins at having stabilized him for now. "Is he going to be okay?" Alice asked timidly as she watched Shizuka closely. "He will be fine," Shizuka assured her softly but firmly. "He just needs rest." Yet deep down, Shizuka felt an overwhelming rush of emotions flood through her. Joy intertwined with sorrow and regret. He was here. He was alive. But beneath that joy lay an unshakable truth: she had almost lost him forever. It was good thing they arrived on time, otherwise he would bleed to death due to the knife wound on his chest, and Shizuka would undergo another emotional grief, tenfold. She'd been carrying the guilt of leaving him behind back at the school, due of Shido's lies. Now that he alive and safe, she made a promise to never leave Naruto again. In the bedroom of Rika's house, where it became a makeshift sanctuary from the danger of the outside world, the air was thick with worry, and the only sound was the soft breathing of Naruto Uzumaki, who lay on the bed, his chest bandaged and bruised. Alice Marasato, a little girl with big bright eyes, sat on the edge of the bed, her small hands trembling. She looked at Naruto and then glanced up at Shizuka Marikawa, the school nurse who had hurriedly dressed Naruto's wounds. "Is Naruto going to be alright?" she asked, her voice shaky and filled with concern. Shizuka, wiping her hands on a cloth, met Alice's gaze. "I did my best, Alice," she replied, her own eyes full of uncertainty. "I stopped the bleeding, but I really wish we could get him to a hospital in Tokunosu City. He needs proper care." Rei Miyamoto, holding a wooden bat tightly, looked outside the window. The city was in disarray, with zombies wandering the streets and marauders looking for any chance to attack. "It's too dangerous to go anywhere," she said firmly. "We can't risk being caught out there. It's swarming with those things." Seiko Busujima, calm and composed as always, nodded in agreement. "Rei is right. The moment we step outside, we put everyone at risk. We have to stay here for now." Her dark eyes shifted back to Naruto. "We need to keep him safe." Kota Hirano, the teenage gun expert, leaned against the wall with a worried frown. "But what if he wakes up and needs more help? We can't just sit here waiting," he argued. "I don't like this feeling of helplessness." Ayako Hayashi, sitting cross-legged on the floor, added her voice to the mix. "Shizuka, you shouldn't doubt yourself. You did everything you could. We all know you're incredible at what you do. Trust your skills. You saved his life. But what if it's not enough?" Shizuka whispered, disappointment creeping into her tone. She was usually so confident, but the sight of Naruto lying there, so pale and still, had shaken her. Kota Hirano, who had been quietly observing from the corner, stepped forward. "They are right, Miss Shizuka. We have to stay here for now. There's nothing we can do until morning. We'll think of a plan then." Kakashi turned his gaze from Naruto to his friends. "From what I found, there are enough supplies here that will keep us refreshed for a couple of days, a few weeks, if we stretch out the food and drinks, not to mention lot of supply of guns. Also, this place looks safe from them, so we hang out here for a while, until Naruto is fully ready and fit to travel." But Alice was not soothed by their confidence. "What if the bad people come after us? What if they come for Naruto?" she whimpered, looking from Shizuka to Seiko. Kakashi Kimuro, the group's reluctant leader, tried to keep calm in the face of Alice's fears. "Are you talking about the ones who hurt Naruto?" he asked her gently, his voice steady. "No," Alice replied, shaking her head. "I mean the ones that killed my dad before Naruto was stabbed. They might come after us." The hush fell over the room as the weight of her words sunk in. It was a terrifying thought and one they all shared, though unspoken. The shadows in the corner of the room seemed to grow darker as they considered the implications. In the dimly lit bathroom of Rika's house, the six girls Rei Miyamoto, Seiko Busujima, Saya Takagi, Shizuka Marikawa, Kyoko Hayashi, and 7-year-old Alice Murasato gathered to wash off the dirt and grime of their long day fighting zombies in a city on the brink of collapse. Alice, who had been clinging to the unconscious and injured Naruto, finally agreed to join them after Rei explained that she needed a proper bath to stay healthy and clean. As they undressed, Alice's eyes widened at the sight of the older girls' bodies, but they quickly reassured her that it was normal for them to be naked together in such situations. Ayako began washing Alice's hair, carefully massaging her scalp and rinsing away the day's worth of sweat and filth. Looking around them, Saya remarked, "Is it really necessary for all of us to be in here at the same time?" she asked, looking around at the others. Seiko, who was sitting next to Saya, just smiled and sprayed her with water from the showerhead. Saya let out a loud scream, and Seiko laughed. "You have a nice voice, Saya," she said, teasingly. "You should scream more often." Meanwhile, Shizuka was washing up at the sink, and Rei couldn't help but notice her impressive figure. "Shizuka, your breasts are enormous," Rei said, staring at her in admiration. Shizuka just smiled and replied, "Yup, I get that a lot." Rei felt a pang of jealousy and anger at Shizuka's casual response. She didn't like being one-upped, and Shizuka's nonchalant attitude only made her more irritated. Without thinking, Rei reached out and grabbed Shizuka's breasts, squeezing them tightly. Shizuka let out a surprised yelp, but then a sly grin spread across her face. She used her breasts to squirt water at Rei, getting her completely soaked. Rei was taken aback, but she couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of the situation. "You got me back, Shizuka," she said, shaking her head. As the girls continued to bathe and play around, the bathroom was filled with the sound of laughter and splashing water. Alice, who had been quietly observing the scene, couldn't help but giggle at the sight of the older girls being so silly. Meanwhile, in Rika's bedroom, Takashi Kimuro and Kota Hirano had discovered a hidden treasure trove of weapons and ammunition. Kota, a gun enthusiast, was like a kid in a candy store as he pulled out one high-grade and highly illegal weapon after another. His face lit up as he described each gun in great detail, explaining their origins, their capabilities, and their historical significance. As Takashi listened to Kota's enthusiastic descriptions, he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. He knew that Kota had a dark side, a sadistic streak that he had only glimpsed on rare occasions. But as Kota's eyes widened with excitement and his voice grew louder with each passing moment, Takashi couldn't help but worry about what his friend might be capable of. "You know, Takashi," Kota said, pulling out a sleek high-tech rifle from the cabinet, "this baby right here is a thing of beauty. It's silent, deadly, and perfect for taking out zombies from a distance." "You seems know pretty well with guns," said Takashi. "Remember what I says about me taking a trip to America?" Kota reminded Takashi. "I went to a private military academy where he was trained by a Blackwater instructor for a month." The two then wonder what kind of person Shizuka's friend is since she keeps illegal guns at her house. Kota reluctantly shifted his attention from the guns. The picture showed a young Naruto Uzumaki dressed in a Japan self-defense military uniform. He looked surprisingly serious. "Is that Naruto?" Kota asked, squinting at the photo. "You know, I never pictured in my mind of him as some kind of soldier. That's just weird." "I know," Takashi agreed, feeling a sense of disbelief. "It's hard to imagine our school guidance counselor dressed like this. He looks different. It's like he was a total badass back in the day." "On top of that," Kota added, "he managed to survive his way to this house through them. He really is a former Special Forces group operative." Takashi recalled Alice's warning and gave some advice. "You know, we need to make sure this place is secured and be on the lookout for danger. I am not just talking about those things outside." "Are you talking about the people who stabbed Naruto from across the streets?" Kota asked. "Or the ones that killed Eli's father?" Takashi hesitated for a moment, recalling what he went through in order to survive. After they escaped the carnage at the school on the bus, tensions were occurring amongst the survivors of Fujimi Academy as they makes their way from the school into the city on the bus. One student named Tsunoda complains about having to travel with Takashi and his group. Shizuka, who is having trouble coping with their situation, stops the bus to tell Tsunoda to be quiet, but his temper only escalates. He angrily advances on Takashi and begins to show signs of aggression, saying he hates him. Takashi asks why he hates him and points out that he did nothing wrong. Before Tsunoda reaches Takashi, Rei jumps up and thrusts her mop handle into his abdomen, causing him to fall to the floor in pain. Shido uses this moment of disorder to give a speech about needing a leader and nominates himself. Other than Takashi and his group, all of the students on the bus vote for Shido to become their leader. Rei promptly leaves the bus and, when Shido implies they should leave her behind, Takashi quickly follows her. He tries to get her to go back, but she only says she told him he would regret saving Shido. Takashi's response is cut short when another bus comes barreling towards them on the street. The people inside are being attacked by them and have lost control. Takashi protects Rei as the approaching bus hits a car, topples over, and bursts into flames, preventing Takashi and Rei from returning to the bus. Siko leaves the bus to make sure Takashi and Rei are okay, and Takashi makes plans to meet at the East Police Station either at 7 p.m. or at the same time tomorrow night. They are forced to flee when the fire grows more violent and the wrecked bus begins to blow up. The two of them made their way through the chaotic Tokunosu city streets to try to get to their destination of safety. He recalled fighting a zombie wearing a motorcycle helmet that pins him to the ground. It rams him in the head with its helmet and he struggles to keep its face away from his. Rei saves Takashi by bashing it in the back of the head and helps him to his feet. They prepare to walk to the police station, but Takashi realizes that the guy they just fought had a helmet. They finds a motorcycle nearby and climbs on, yet they had to stop to get some gas as it was half empty. Yet it was that moment that haunted Takashi. As they ride on in the night, they come across a crashed police car and salvages a pistol and some bullets. This proves to be useful later on. Later, they go to a gas station, only to find that it is self-serve and requires money to operate. Since Takashi has no money, he asks Rei if she has any, leading her to call him the worst, which they argue about and increase tensions. Since they both realize that they don't have any cash, Takashi goes inside the store and breaks apart the cashier, taking some cash until he hears Rei scream. When he comes back, he finds Rei being held hostage by a big gangster wannabe. The man threatens to kill Rei, which incites Rei to tell Takashi to rescue her, leading to the man violently groping Rei's breasts. In the anime, he also pulls down her shirt while commenting on her body and voice. After some useless negotiation, Takashi pulls out his gun and shoots the thug at point-blank range. Rei is saved and is about to punish the man until Takashi stops her and tells her that they have no time to deal with such scum, and she notices how that the gunshot sounds attracted dozens of zombies. They left the man to his fate and then continued to ride toward their destination. It's a new world out there, he tells his friend. A world with one rule. Survived at any means if necessary. We can't afford to relax our guard, even for a moment. The hushed silence of Rika's house was a heavy blanket, broken only by the rhythmic hum of the air conditioning and the distant chirping of cicadas. Shizuka Marikawa moved through the dimly lit hallway, her long legs the only part of her truly visible beneath the vast expanse of the oversized t-shirt she wore. It was easily 2 sizes too big, a deliberate choice to obscure the generous curves of her buxom body and frankly, humongous breasts, which usually drew far too much attention. Today, her sole focus was medical, her mind entirely on the fragile life clinging by a thread in Rika's spare bedroom. She pushed open the door to what Rika usually called her guest retreat, a small cozy room now transformed into a makeshift infirmary. The air immediately felt heavier, tinged with a sterile scent of antiseptic and something metallic, the lingering echo of blood. Naruto Uzumaki lay utterly still in the center of the bed, a stark white mummy of bandages against the pale blue sheets. His chest, in particular, was a fortress of gauze, protecting the impossible wound that had nearly claimed him. Shizuka's gaze softened with a familiar pang of professional concern, mixed with a deeper, almost maternal worry. But then her eyes snagged on a figure already by the bedside. "Ayoko?" Shizuka blinked, a small polite gasp escaping her lips. Ayoko Hayashi turned from where she had been gently adjusting a damp cloth on Naruto's forehead. Her response was a small, startled jump, her usually composed features momentarily flustered. She was wearing only her sleek red-framed glasses, a minimalist red bra, and a matching thong. The unexpected attire, or lack thereof, in the quiet sick room made Shizuka's eyebrows rise subtly. Ayoko's lithe frame, usually clad in sharp professional attire, seemed almost vulnerable in the intimate setting. "Shizuka," Kyoko breathed, her voice a little strained. I just got here." Shizuka stepped fully into the room, her attention quickly returning to the unconscious boy. "How is he?" she murmured, moving to the other side of the bed, her long legs striding with purpose. She leaned over Naruto, her experienced eyes scanning his pale face, checking the rise and fall of his chest, the faint erratic pulse fluttering at his neck. "Still out," Kyoko replied, her voice regaining some of its usual composure, though a faint flush remained on her cheeks. "The fever seems to have dipped slightly, though. It's a miracle, isn't it? To be stabbed in the heart like that and still be breathing." Shizuka nodded slowly, her fingers gently brushing Naruto's forehead. "Beyond a miracle, Kyoko. It defied every medical expectation. There are no words for how fortunate he is, or how resilient. Any lesser person," she trailed off, a shiver running through her. The image of the gaping wound, the sheer depth of it, still haunted her. Ayoko sighed, moving closer, her expression drawn with concern. "You look exhausted, Shizuka. You should really get some rest. I can stay here, if you like." Shizuka straightened, turning to face Kyoko fully. Her eyes, though tired, held a stubborn glint. "No," she said firmly. "Thank you for the offer, but I need to be here. As his school nurse, it's my responsibility to ensure his recovery is as smooth as possible. We're still in critical hours." She paused, her gaze lingering on Kyoko's state of undress. "Though, if you don't mind me asking," she began, her tone gentle but direct, "may I ask why you are here, Kyoko? And in that attire?" A vivid red blush bloomed across Kyoko's cheeks, extending down her neck and chest, making the red bra seem almost unnecessary. She averted her eyes, fumbling with the hem of the bedsheet, her fingers picking at the fabric. Naruto is my friend," she mumbled, her voice barely above a whisper. Her eyes darted back to his face, a surprising softness in their depths. I just wanted to make sure he's okay. I heard what happened and I couldn't just stay away." She finally met Shizuka's gaze, her expression earnest despite the flush. "It was the quickest thing I could throw on, I just rushed over. I didn't think anyone else would be here yet." Shizuka watched her for a long moment, a flicker of understanding passing through her eyes. She simply nodded, a quiet acceptance in her demeanor. "I understand," she said softly, turning back to Naruto. "What if Naruto X High School of the Dead Harem end here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.